It really just depends. I don't really care. I know we were talking earlier about what were we talking about? We were talking about fuck. What were we talking about?
The series you were watching?
Oh well, it was I don't even really watch series anymore. Not that much. If I do watch a series, it's like something that just came out, like a documentary or something like that.
Yeah.
Like I got really into fucking Hunting Hitler. That was a legit, like, I'm telling you, bro, that was crazy shit. Like I didn't realize that all that shit was happening, and they were going down to fucking Argentina and fucking South America. That shit was fucking crazy with
the Nazis for the war crimes.
What's his Kennedy? What the hell's his name? Something Kennedy. I can't think of his name now. I'm brain farting. What the fuck's his name? Something Kennedy. He's a UFC fighter. Oh my god, this is horrible. I'm horrible.
I don't know.
But he basically was like, so bring the mic closer. Yeah, get like within like a fist. There you go. Not yet. Yeah. Put your fist on. Yeah, that's good. But no, it's basically his guy. He goes around and they're following like where Hitler could he have escaped, and they found all this evidence saying that he definitely did. Like they found fortified locations in South America. They found like bases and built units, like things that could have absolutely housed him. Like what they found, like plants that could have been something they used to create weapons. Like they were trying to create weapons of mass destruction. Like dude, it's an incredible series.
If Taylor did exist, he would have rise back up like Napoleon.
Yeah,
he's the same kind of complex. He would have made waves and done something, and people would have started following him again.
Yeah, no, it was definitely a fucking
or he would have cloak and dagger stuff and would like been attacking, behind the scenes, and that there'd be hell evidence of that. Because what did happen with Hitler, which you should already know, is he killed his dogs. He tested cyanide on his dogs first, and then he killed himself, and he had troops burn his body, which I feel like is the most ultimate fuck you, because on how many people what they wanted to do to him after they captured him. Like the Soviets had plans to like parade him around through the streets, so like people could like beat him up, and when they finally killed him, they want to put his body and bury it underneath the latrines at their military school, so that the future armies of the Soviets could always be shitting on Hitler's body.
Really?
Yeah, that was their plan.
Wow.
Yeah, incredibly fucked up. And like because of what happened to Stalin, like Hitler was like, "Nah, you're not capturing me alive. You're not getting my body." Because I saw what happened. Like it's terrible. And what happened to Gaddafi? What was his name? Gaddafi?
I'm not sure.
Whatever.
Man.
He was a dictator, and like Putin used to like watch the videos of what happened to him when he got captured, and he's like was like for like a week, like watched it every day. I was like terrified.
Fuck, dude.
Because if they happened to him, because they like were like shoving a spear in Gaddafi's ass as like they're parading around the streets, and like just like stabbed him, beat the shit out of him.
Well, that's what I think Hitler was afraid of. I think he was like legitimately he's like afraid of that shit. So but I think he got his way out. I think he figured it out. I think he got there. But anywho, hello listeners, DNA Talks. Derek here. Kyle.
Hi.
Say hi, Kyle.
Hi, I'm Kyle.
Hello. This is Kyle.
Roommate.
Welcome to the podcast, bro. Glad to have you over.
Our first official, but our second reality.
It is now the second time you've been over. Unfortunately, the first time didn't turn out well. We were extremely hammered, and we're getting twisted right now. Hashtag get strapped, or was it stay strapped or get slapped? I don't know. That's the video going around and circulating.
Yeah.
Of some black dude beating the fuck out of some white guy who deserved it. By all means deserved it. That motherfucker's retarded for saying some stupid ass shit. Fuck that guy.
Yeah.
I mean, lightweight. If I had been that guy working at that convenience store, I'd been like, I ain't calling the cops. Like, I ain't calling the cops. Like, I'll call the cops later. Like, I'll let them know what's going on later, but I ain't calling the cops.
He thought he had a hood pass.
Drop enough N bombs to fucking that last lifetime. Fuck that, dude. No way.
No one gets a hood pass. No one. That's not how it works. Like, your friends just don't like calling you out or fighting you on it and just let it happen. Like, but you still never have the right to say it. And then the dude was like, "Don't say it," and he still thought he had the right to.
But that also like bleeds into the fucking the like world we live in. Sometimes some people just don't get like I guess it all depends on like where your background is, what you come from, or whatever. But some people just don't understand. Now, he was fucking drunk as shit. Yeah. That guy was so fucked up. He couldn't probably tell you what up or down was. He was just even after the fact, he was just like, yeah, okay, whatever.
He definitely got concussion and probably doesn't remember.
Oh no, like I don't know if you can get a concussion from a twisted T, but I mean, who knows? There's a lot of cushion there.
The amount of force that dude had in that can to make it explode that hard was incredible. Like the physics alone, like what it felt like to get hit. These things are like when their clothes are like solid. How heavy are these things? A couple pounds because they're from the liquid. Like, dude, that thing, it destructed. It exploded on his face.
Bullshit, man. Well, it's good to have you on, first of all. And every time I have you on, it reminds you of like it makes you reminisce on all the wonderful experiences we've had in my apartment, our apartment, I should say.
Yeah.
Being roomies, as we were talking about earlier, reflecting on those things and just kind of going, "Fuck, man!" Like, I've been here way too fucking long. Sometimes I think about that. I'm like, God damn, I've been here for fucking 7 years now.
I don't regret it. Like,
well, hey, think of it this way: like, I probably wouldn't have this space if you didn't put it down. Because that was the reason why. I remember I was working, and I was like, "Hey, dude, I ain't got the dough," and you had like all this stuff, money saved up, and you put it down for the security deposit. And I'm like, "Fuck yeah, winner, chicken dinner." And then fucking, we get it, and they're like, "Yeah, you can't check it out because it's under renovation right now." And we're like, "So we're just gonna just put the money down for an apartment and just say,
move in, yeah, right?"
Yeah, we got here. We're like, okay. And we got here, and the first thing in our fucking fridge was a 30-pack of fucking Coors Light. I still got that post, by the way.
230 was it 230 packs of Coors Light?
I think so. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
No, I have the picture still on my Instagram, so I looked it up just to find out. but yeah, man, fucking A.
Yeah.
How was your holiday?
Oh, it just had to stay home and just binge watch TV shows. Couldn't go do anything.
I know, because your roommate's a fucking retard.
Yeah, no, like he literally is autistic though. He does a lot of weird stuff.
Bring the mic to me.
Like
I want people to hear you, man.
I've literally caught him stealing batteries from me. Like he stole batteries out of my beard trimmer. And then
what the fuck?
Like, yeah, like you think you're going to get away with that? Like I definitely used it a couple months ago and like now there's nothing in it. And then he also tries stealing batteries from my scale, my weight scale, like you stand on to see your body weight. Like it's like one of those one watch batteries and it wasn't turning on. So I had to take it out and there's no battery in it. And I'm like, hey dude, go put it back.
Some like tweaker shit, dude. Who the fuck does that?
He also like steal food. So if I had like something opened and I took a little bit out of it, I'd come back and there'd be like just like 2 of something left. Like if I had a carton of eggs and I opened it, there'd be like 2 eggs left. I'm like, no one. I've been here for more years than you. No one's done this. But since you moved in, like all this weird shit goes missing, and I've had to call him out multiple times. I was like ready to fight him. I was ready to fuck him up.
Jesus Christ!
But his little brother is also my other roommate, and so he like sent me aside like, hey, by the way, autism runs real strong in our family, and he's on the spectrum. That's why our dad keeps giving him money to like be like to exist. Because all he can do is like Uber. He just before COVID he would Uber like once a week for like a month, for like a week. And that's how he'd pay bills.
Hey man, but I think everybody has to have like one shady roommate every once in a while just to kind of. I mean, I don't know if it's just me, but like I've lived so many places now. I've had. I mean, this is probably the first place that was actually mine.
Yeah.
Realistically.
Yeah.
And I remember just renting rooms out. That's all I did. I was like moving.
So annoying.
Fuck, I lived in a party house. I lived with my buddy's dad. I lived like fucking all these weird fucking places. And it was so cool when I finally got my own place. I'm like, fuck yeah, we're gonna rage it up, man. We're gonna have a party every other fucking weekend, or we're gonna do this. I remember the first 2 weeks we were fucking here, we got a fucking noise complaint. And we knew who it came from too. We knew exactly who it was.
And it was my fault.
That's right.
But it wasn't because we were being loud.
No, it was not at all. No, it wasn't. Yeah, it wasn't. But we knew exactly who the fuck it was. Oh yeah, shots. Yes,
Yeah.
shots. Salute. Oh no, I got enough in here. We're good.
No, you don't.
Oh, I don't. Okay, I need more. That's. Cheers. Hey, Christmas in a bottle, right? Fireball shots. Cheers, folks.
It smells like Christmas in here.
Go hard or go home. Woo! I love it. So anywho, so I'm really deep into this. I don't know if you've heard. So have you seen the documentary called The Unacknowledged?
Nope, never heard of it.
Okay, you got to watch that for one. Okay, there's levels to this, and it's basically the insight on like the government basically hiding or basically hiding away the involvement of or the discovery of UFOs and government just involvement, secret projects, government involvement with these projects, and essentially just hiding them away or turning them around to force people to be like, okay, we need to do something about it because they're trying to invade, or they would just manipulate. Well, Unacknowledged is like the first thing. It came out back in, I think it was 2007. I think it came out 2007. 2008. I got to look that up. I just was watching the second one he put out, which is called Close Encounters of the Fifth Kind, and
Mm-hmm.
it just says, the beginning. I just watched it. I'm terrible at this. I'm sorry for my viewers who probably know what the fuck I'm talking about. But it basically goes into more detail about it, man. And these guys have some experiences that blew my fucking mind. I'm over here just like, watching this shit, kind of like going, what the fuck? And they basically just have these, what they call close encounter. They basically essentially what it is they meditate. And they achieve this level of meditation to where they can communicate with these other beings. Now, this is kind of far-fetched a little bit. This is a little, at first, when I first heard this, I was like, this is some fucking, hippie shit or something, or just, But then what's interesting is they have people who are regular everyday people, or people who are, who have nothing to do with this, or who have never ever been like involved with these kind of things, come out and they basically have these giant or have these small group meditation sessions, and then when they do that, objects appear, and they usually appear in some really unique ways. So, for instance, and it's all documented. So all the videos you see in the film from Close Encounters of the Fifth Kind are all events that have been like from sessions of meditation, and it's like live, like they're just, and they have pictures and they have like instances when this all happened, and it's kind of baffling to me, like it's kind of trips me out. But when the guy's talking about it, what he talks about is how our government, so to speak, and he knows he's like, I've worked with everybody. I prepared documents to present to every president from Clinton to Bush. Like he's gone through this and explained like I mean, he goes, we as a government have already talked about this stuff. I came out back in, he said 2002. I think it was. He said he came out and said this was going on, and people were like, whatever. Or like, even the government, knew about it, but they weren't willing to talk about it. They would just turn it around saying, oh, there's an alien invasion, impending doom, and, this and that, and this is what's happening. So here's what we're going to do, and cause that state of fear. Keep that state of fear, like not make it real, but like just keep that state, like if it was happening.
It makes it real easy to get funding for stuff that way.
Right. And this is the thing is like, and then they show all the movies that came out post to that and how they were all about bad, like Mars attacks, aliens invading. Like every alien movie is a bad one. The Thing, like all these movies that came out to deter us from understanding that aliens are just the bad. They're evil. They're here to hurt us or take over. And that's just, and this is interesting. He goes, that's just not the point. That's not the point. Like, it's not about them trying to hurt us. Because for one, if they wanted us out, they'd if they're
little effort.
And here's little to no effort. I mean,
yeah.
They're from what I'm being explained about and what they talk about. These are interdimensional beings. These are beings that are on a different plane, different level. Much, if not millions, probably billions of years in advance of us. That's why whenever you see like they always capture something on film, it's like these things just reappear and disappear. Well, for one, if you're going to travel light years, like there's no reason, like the speed of light, it would take us, to get to these life supporting planets that we talked about. Like they've discovered a life supporting planet. It's like they said it was like some extreme amount of light years away. To get there, it would take 50 years at light speed.
Yeah.
Well, these beings, or these ETs, so to speak, have figured out how to be interdimensional. They figured this out. So like they actually have footage of things reappearing and disappearing like that, like in a way to where they're passing through dimensions. It's really kind of interesting to like when they explain that. Now, obviously, there can be some speculation on, could it be modified? Could it be changed? Or someone fucking with a camera or doing something? Yeah, absolutely. There's speculation. There's always going to be a skeptic. Okay, is this really real? But judging based off of what I've seen and what I've watched, like it's a little trippy, man, when they have like footage of, like things appearing like in a way to where it's like, that's not a normal, like a bright orange. Like there's a scene where they're on a coast along the ocean and they're having they call it CE5 session, Close Encounters of the Fifth Kind session. And they're sitting there and they're doing a meditation, and these two orbs, giant orbs that are bright orange, like a sunset orange, form over the water. One forms up, one comes in a frame, like off in the distance, and then the second one appears next to it. And it's like, it's it's totally not normal. Like, it's not a thing that you would see. Like, it's not an airplane that shows up and it literally shows up in the frame, like, and it just makes your mind go, wait a second, this is some fucking crazy shit. Like, what am I seeing right now? And that's kind of the impression that the people who are there are giving. Like, okay, what is this fucking thing that I'm seeing right now? What is this crazy, you know, this instance that I'm experiencing right now? And he goes into more detail about it, and he explains, like, okay, so when you meditate, what I found is that these things aren't actually trying to hurt us in any way. They're probably one of the most peaceful things ever. Like, they're just trying to find us, locate a higher consciousness. So, like, for instance, when we meditate, we put ourselves in a position, like, in a mindset to where we kind of get out of our own mind, like our own bodies, and then we have an out of body experience. Kind of like, that's what he equates it to, like an out of body experience. Because what he explains is that these beings are not here to invade or take over or this and that. Like, there's this whole concept, like Independence Day and fucking all these movies that came out.
They make great stories.
They make really, really enticing, fun things to watch.
Yeah.
But realistically, like, if they wanted us gone, we'd be gone. Like, you know, that's just the way it is.
Well, that just goes with storylines and like.
Look at our history. Look at our history as human beings. What's the only like over the 2,000 or 4,000 years we've been around? What's the only thing that we've done that's been like, you know, we fucking fight about everything. We're constantly extinguishing our resources as a species. We're literally destroying the world we live on. Essentially, we are. Mm-hmm. We create all these things that are technologically advanced, but they're damaging our world in some way. They're damaging. You know what I mean? Like, like we do coal mining. Yeah, while it's that shit fucking, you know, we do fucking nuclear reactors where we have meltdowns that could destroy our entire fucking world.
They're actually not that dangerous anymore.
Well, okay. Excluding Chernobyl, but like I said, it's like it can be controlled. But my point though is that we as a species have like a lot of things that are fucked up, and our storyboard is only like it's so infinitesimal to the entire universe. It's like we're such a small piece to play, and so he goes into detail about that and just explains that and just goes, hey, you know, they're not here for that. They're here for this. And then they have these sessions and they see these things and it's all video recorded. They have photos of stuff, and it's just very compelling. You know, and I guess the best way I can explain it, which I've heard someone else explain it, like I want to believe, I do, and I try to poke holes in it, and even sometimes I'm like, oh fuck, man, I don't want to
have an unbiased opinion about it.
Yeah, and I don't
be a centralist.
Yeah, but it's a really cool thing. I don't know if I've been totally hooked on it for like the last couple weeks, just like watching this shit, man, and just fucking getting like dive balls deep in this shit, man.
Dude, I love all that.
Crazy, bro.
Like, have you watched Alien Worlds yet?
I did. Okay, I did watch a little bit of that. I did.
Yeah.
I started it. The thing is, I go in my room and I try to watch it before bed, and then I'll be like, "Fuck," you know. I look over the clock. It's 10:30. I'm like,
it's like an hour-long episode.
Yeah, fuck. I gotta go to bed. I gotta be at work, you know. So I'll watch a little bit of it and I'll go to sleep. And dude, here's the fucking even crazier part, man. That's Netflix, right? Yeah. Fucking Netflix. You guys are fucking out there like tracking us in some weird way, because I will literally like watch a series or watch an episode on Netflix. I swear to God. I'll be watching Netflix. I'm talking to you, Netflix, okay? I'll be watching a series, and I'll pass out. And the shit will keep playing, right? Because it usually does that. Yeah. And I'll wake up the next day, go back to my fucking work, come home, and put that episode on, and it'll start right where I fucking fell asleep at. I'm like, what the fuck? This is the weirdest thing ever. Like, I'll play it, and it'll be right where I fucking passed out. And I'm like, okay, something's up, bro. Like, I didn't press pause. I didn't turn the shit off. Like, it turns off on its own because, like, it's like a timer. But I'll put it on, and it'll be, like, right where I passed out.
Yeah, I wonder about that because, like, I haven't had that happen yet, but, you know, it'll play for, like, 2 episodes after, and that's when it stops off. If it knows when you go to sleep, maybe it's, like, usually you check how much time you have left before you go to sleep, and then you, like, pass out right after, and it's like, hey, so if people, you know, play off for 2 episodes and it goes that continue screen, maybe the last time when they fell asleep was the last time they, you know, checked to see how much time is left on the episode.
Maybe it's some kind of, like, sequencing or some shit that they put into it, you know? Like, oh, yeah, we're going to fucking... When's the last time they press fast forward? When's the last time they press play?
Yeah.
We're gonna go ahead and like stop it. Yeah, it's like they do. Like YouTube does this all the time. They'll, like, you know, if you pause something somewhere, and then you go back to watch it, it'll go back 90 seconds and replay that 90 seconds or 30 seconds you watched. And that's where I go, fuck, I watched this already. What the like, you ever like done that before? You're watching a YouTube video and you're like, you watch it and you go, I fucking heard this already. Like,
I've been watching so many YouTube videos lately, and
oh
it's
my
like,
God,
I fucking hate YouTube for so many reasons.
God, but I love YouTube for all the same reasons, like it's just, it's good, and it's bad at the same time too, because I catch myself watching fucking Twisted Tea videos of people getting knocked out and shit. Like there's goods and bads to it, like there'll be moments where I'm like watching inspirational videos and be like, yeah, fuck yeah, and then I'll watch a fucking street fight where someone gets strangled or some shit. Or like, and then I'll be like, Joe Rogan for like 20 minutes, and oh shit, and I seen like fucking, I'll see a comedian, and I'll watch a comedian for 20 minutes. Like that shit just hooks you, bro. Like it just fucking snags you, and you're watching it, and the next thing you know, it's fucking 3 a.m. You're like, God, I gotta be up in like 4 hours.
That literally happened the other night.
It's literally what happens every fucking time.
We were watching SNL videos of like just skits, and then like Deidre's like, oh wow, so I have to be up before work for an hour and a half, and I was like, oof.
Sucks
like,
to be you.
We didn't even know. We thought it was midnight still.
Sucks to be you, man.
Just got sucked in a U-hole.
That's what happens. And it's like and it's one of those things where like it's the system sometimes. I think it's at the same time I don't think it is necessarily this system itself, because it generates videos based off what you watch. Right?
Oh yeah,
it does,
and it's really good at that. Except the fact that mine, because I watch a lot of military videos, like gunsmiths or something like that, or like people who are making things, or like old like medieval like just information about it. I for some reason find that stuff very very interesting. And now I'm getting like a lot of really weird ads from it. Like one is for like a church. For me to try and join a church, they think I'm religious, and I'm like, they don't know me, so I had to report that as offensive because I didn't want to deal with like more ads like that. And then there was one where it was like, what was it?
Constantly reading our fucking minds.
Virtue signaling the board game. So I keep seeing ads for virtue signaling the board game. I'm like that's funny, but like you guys are so far off from things I actually care about.
Well, it's like because there's sometimes I'll do this. I'll have friends over where we like watching. I'll go on YouTube to put on music and look at my search history and be like, what the fuck? Black woman slapping white guy at a grocery store, or like some stupid shit like that. And I'd be like, yeah, that was a friend of mine. He wanted to show me this video.
And you start getting like weird recommendations.
You have to explain yourself, like, yeah, it's a long story, but I'll tell you guys about it later.
I want a feature on Google that automatically deletes all the search history once I die.
No, you gotta.
I don't want to have.
You gotta put your shit on. You gotta put your shit on. Was it like? What was it? Someone told me one day. I'm an iPhone user or whatever. You can put your shit like your browser history. First of all, we're being tracked either way. Fuck.
No matter. Yeah.
We're being fucking tracked every goddamn day of our lives. It's just the way it is. Like, there's nothing we can. If you use Google, you're being tracked. I mean, if you use anything, you're being tracked. You fucking. So like, this was my friend told me. He goes, "Hey man, you use an iPhone, right?" I'm like, "Yeah." Like, set your browser to private. And I'm like, "Well, that doesn't stop them from tracking." He's like, "Nah, man, but it stops your chick from knowing what you're looking up." I go, okay. But then there's like this one time where I put it on private, and I was using my phone to like look up something for like, I think it was for like a workout video or something like that. And I found it. And I'm like, oh, cool, I got this link, whatever. And so I'm like, okay, and I closed it out, and I go, okay, I'm going to use this later. And I went to go pull my phone out to go find it, and the fucking thing was gone because I forgot I had my phone on private, so the link wasn't there. And I'm like, I spent fucking 3.5 hours looking for this goddamn thing.
When I do it with Google, you can still go through your history, but it just won't show any cookies.
Well, no, it's weird because it won't. That's what I'm saying. Like I had never used it before, so I didn't know. I'm like, oh, it'll probably still. No, it was. There's nothing. This thing will literally like not save anything. I'm like,
oh,
he's
no,
like,
I
bro.
think you're right.
He just told me, he's like, yeah, bro, you ain't never been married, bro. I was like, okay, all right. Well.
Honestly, being honest, like when I with Deidre, I'm just like completely honest, like whatever. I just don't tell her what porn I'm interested in. But if I look at it, jerked off to it, or I'm like, hey,
man,
like
if you're not like
you're going to sleep, like, and I'm too tired too. I just want to rub one out. It is so much more liberating to be like that honest and that free than to try and hide everything. Now, I'm not like open with what like I'm into because honestly, I feel like I'll be judged.
Dude, hey, listen, bro. If you're not fucking feeling disgusted with yourself after you come, bro, you're not watching the right shit, dude.
Yeah.
You're just not.
You didn't have a good enough time.
You're not fucking right. If you're not going, oh my god, what the fuck am I watching?
Yeah.
After you're done,
the best part about watching the right
shit,
existential crisis after.
It's just the truth.
Yeah.
It's just the way it goes, man. Fuck. But is it shot time? Are we doing
yeah, we're doing our shot. We'll
No,
be back to the alien.
I'm
talk.
not gonna take this whole thing, man.
That's fine.
We get a white girl wasted here. Cheers, folks.
Someone has to be coherent.
Right. So, anywho,
Or we'll get stuck in a drunk.
what's your general like idea on that topic? Do you find it? Do you
current
find
close
that
encounters and all
Do
that?
you find that topic like to be relevant with what's going on? I mean, obviously the world right now is kind of in chaos, dealing with obviously with the virus and what's going on and what we're dealing with. But what is your take on it? Does that stuff interest you? Are you intrigued by it?
I'm balls deep in it.
Yeah,
I love sci-fi stuff, and especially Alien, all the exploration of it. Just this, not even just a TV series behind to be interested in, like the actual science of everything. Like I just find it fascinating. I can sit there and just read about it. And I actually did a little refreshing before we came here because I figured some of the stuff was gonna come back up.
good.
Good
job.
So my take on it is still like we've still never met anything, but the possibilities are still completely there. But so I can't talk about every instance of every weird little encounter. I can't debunk them. It's so impossible. But there are a couple of times that like the Roswell, New Mexico one is easily explained as like it was a weather balloon. But they're like, no, it was an alien.
No. They literally posted the truth and then retracted that shit. Like I was watching, so I'm balls deep in this show called the Project Blue Book.
Yeah.
Have you ever watched it?
No, I've never heard of it.
Oh my motherfucking god!
Send me the link.
Send you the link, bro. I'll send you the link. No, you have to watch it. I have it all recorded on my thing. So you, like I said, I can fucking show you this shit. We can after we're done here. I'll show you a couple episodes, and it's basically about that the Project Blue Book that was set up by the Air Force. Basically, where they brought in Dr. Oh my god. Heinz was it? Oh my god, I can't think of his name.
Not Heinz Himmler. You're thinking of
Heinzig? His name is Dr. Heinzig. I think I'm saying it right. Hopefully I am. Who basically got brought in to debunk all these UFO, like people said they were having like they had an alien experience, or they had these UFOs that came in, and he would bring Dr. Hymek. That's what his name is. And he came in, and it was an Air Force like program. They had a guy. It was like and the series, they made it be more glorified. But he came in and was supposed to come in and debunk these things and just say, "Hey, this is a natural phenomenon. This is ball lightning. This is this and this." And they come in and see all this shit. And at first, he's like, "Oh, okay. Like, what's this?" And he comes at it from a scientific perspective and just tries to like break it down that way. And then in the series, they show a lot of emphasis on like him actually like okay. Like he's doing it from a scientific perspective. He's he's having his evidence. He's supported by facts, like everything. But then there's some times where he's like, you can't explain like certain things. Like you can fucking put something.
You can
together.
make a theory, but
like there's a certain part. Like, I don't want to give you too much because the series is really good. I don't want to tell you too much. But there's certain parts in the film where like
spoil it.
Yeah, no, it's really good. It's really good. I love it. There's 2 series of it, and I'm probably gonna buy them. I'm probably gonna own them because I like them that much. I'm like, yeah, they're really cool. I like the actors who are in it too. They're really good. It has the guy who plays in Game of Thrones, the really fucked up dude who always who's always trying to manipulate people. His name's fucking.
I think
he's like super in love with Sansa Stark. He like fucking tries to fucking. He's that really conniving fuck face who's like who like fucking.
He's from the South, and he like almost like
has the sister. Yeah. It's that one dude. I can't think of it. He plays Doctor. Yeah, he plays the doctor. He plays the guy who's the scientist, he plays him, and I liked him. He's a great character role. Everything. They brought the Russians into it because the Russians were intrigued too. Like it was just in my opinion, I liked it. It was very intriguing for me. But I'm a UFO nut. I'm a fucking weirdo. Like I fucking love it.
So the 2 things about current UFOs, like when I was talking about Roswell and it being a weather balloon, and I was like, no, it's more of an alien. Well, the government let it run that it was an alien because cause the truth is like we don't want people to know what we were really doing, so just let this story run.
And they have that, by the way, in the series. They have the Roswell incident happen in the series.
And so what they were really doing, we were trying to measure because it's right next to a nuclear testing facility,
Right.
and they're trying to test out what happens to nukes in the higher altitudes. And so I've actually studied a lot about nukes. I find them so interesting. And what actually ended up being more dangerous than the actual thermonuclear detonation was actually the EMP blast from it, and on how much more range it gets up in the upper atmosphere.
Right.
So instead of it just being, 50 mile blast for the heat and then like 200 miles for the shock wave, the EMP in the upper atmosphere can get like 300 miles out of it. And so you'd only need a couple spread at the right parts of the United States to go off before it even gets close enough, and it can destroy all of our electronics, and that would be all it would take for America to collapse within 2 weeks.
Right, and they explained this during when the Hiroshima bomb went off. It went off. It was off the ground by I can't remember how many.
I think
meters.
it's 100 feet. It's 100 feet.
And they were examining it, and then how the explosion is like the growth or the framework, wherever that was when it exploded. On the very bottom of it was actually still in place. Everything else, like how the bomb exploded, they did like a diagram, and it shows it. And in the diagram, it shows like the bottom of the bomb, everything is perfectly just in place, but everything else got spread out, like how the blast went off.
It had a
but it because
shape charge effect to it.
But because it was off the ground, it actually did more than it was hitting the ground, because the ground essentially it's like this: the ground will absorb.
I mean,
think about this: half of the explosion is going into the ground. So if you take a fucking here's how my friend was explaining it to me. He goes, take a pizza, or think of it like as a fraction, like a pizza. You put half the fucking you put this on the ground, and half the pizza is already underneath the ground. Like, so all that energy is being transferred into the ground and being lost essentially. Take that same thing and explode. I don't know why pizza. But he's like, if you detonate here, it's everything. It's you're getting the full frontal. You're getting the full 100% blast.
Yeah.
But it was weird how they explained it, because the bomb, when it exploded, everything on the bottom of it didn't go anywhere. It stayed perfectly intact. So the explosion itself went out in every direction, but the only thing that moved was everything around it. So like you could see the detonation area. You could see like where it detonated over, where nothing was. Yeah, there was a shockwave. Yeah, there was a blast, but like vegetation, everything was still intact. It's really weird. How they explain it. I can't. I'm probably slaughtering this shit. So forgive me, guys.
The Cronus effect, and it's how shape charges work.
Yeah,
and that makes sense, because like the very tip of it, where the warhead would have because there'd be stuff in front of it to detonate it. That's where usually all that is. Would create a cone effect. So yeah, I can see everything below it being perfectly fine. But what I was trying to say is that they were doing studies in the 50s and 60s trying to understand like what nukes would do in the upper atmosphere, and that would make sense why the weather balloon would be up there, for them to like have special recording equipment to like see what was going on, and that the shock wave was more powerful than they thought and would just destroy it. And it's like on fire, falling down and being completely like ionized, because that's what EMP is. It's just like pure electrons just going through the air.
Well, here's the even scarier part: is that fucking EMP is like you can't see it. It's not there. Like it's just a wave that shuts everything off. And the only thing about EMPs that aren't like, the reason why EMPs aren't like the most effective tool is for them to work, the system has to be on. So, for instance, like everything we're using right now, electricity wise, it's powered. It's got energy going through it. EMP goes off, it overloads those sources, and it causes them to short out and fail. If it's all unpowered and there's no power going through it, it's not going to be affected. But because we have alternating current, like we have like fucking outlets that are always charged, that would impact that.
That makes
sense.
sense.
Someone was telling me like, okay, like if I'll just turn all my shit off, I'll be fine. I'm like, no, because all the fucking outlets that you're using are powered. Like unless you go over to your breaker and shut the breaker off, but then even then the lines are all powered. So you turn your breaker back on, guess what? You have no power, because the power is always on.
It could also mess with anything that's like magnetic too. So like I'm pretty like our hard drives might get like, they're not shielded in some way. They might get like just warped enough to where nothing can read, and everything's corrupted.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's and that's all it would take, is just an EMP blast, and it would destroy everything, because everything runs off electricity. We couldn't be able to buy food.
That was the
power anything, no water, no heat, no electricity. It'd take a while for everything to get back. After 2 weeks, like there'd be nothing in the stores. Like
2 weeks. It's fucked now.
It takes 2 weeks for the fucking.
I think it's fucked now.
Yeah.
That shit right there, man. That shit would be fucked up. You think it's fucked now that we're on lockdown and we can't fucking go out and do anything? We got essential workers. Like, guess what, man? No power. Fucking martial law, dude. People are going to be out there fucking with.
After 2 weeks, everyone's running out of food. Everyone's trying to figure out how to feed their family, and it's going to get violent.
It's going to be crazy. It's just that's a whole other world, though. That's a whole different conversation, though. That's like if you ain't got a weapon, dude, you are at bottom of the food chain. You're eating last.
Yeah.
Like you're using everything you get is seconds.
But back to the whole anything. So like, there's that story with the weather balloon, which could be easily like completely debunked and explained. And then there's another one where it's called the UFO story, and it actually happened like 2 years ago. The 2 Navy pilots were flying over, and they saw like a mass, like a swarm of orbs flying around, and when they got closer they saw what it was and figured it out. They called it UFOs, but the pilots knew what happened when they stumbled upon it, that it was actually a CIA black site for them testing new aircraft, because the CIA actually oversees Area 51 and all of that. And what it was fighter pilot, or not fighter, but they're basically flying drones that are to be like used as airplanes, but they were working on it as like an AI, because there's like, they said there's like 1,000 of them in the sky, and they all work in unison, and they all move together in like erratic, and they can just immediately change direction. Well, when you don't have a pilot, you don't have to worry about G-forces like on a human body. That limitation's gone. It's on the components.
Well, you know what that whole idea is, right? So do you understand? Like, so remember, not to bring up. I always bring up Star Trek in my podcast because I'm a Star Trek fan. Hey, I'm a Star Trek fan for life, motherfucker. But they had these things called inertia dampeners. Remember that?
Yeah.
Okay, inertia dampeners. Well, here's the thing: is that these UFOs? Anybody ever watched the Bob Lazar, or heard about the Bob Lazar story, where he worked for Los Alamos and got brought over by a government project, worked on S4, and essentially they tried to back engineer what they thought was some kind of motor engine UFO, whatever, and it created its own gravity field.
Yeah.
Okay, so when I say gravity field, like, so when we see like when we talk about gravity field, it goes around in a certain way. Okay,
yeah.
And what that does is that it doesn't so anybody who's inside that gravity field does not have the inertia or the feeling of movement. Yeah. Because they create their own gravity field.
Yeah, they create a bubble around themselves.
So what's even more fucking psyched me out more was that because of this gravity field, we actually don't see it the same way that they would see it if they're inside the gravity field. So for instance, if you were right below a UFO with its own gravitational field, you could look straight up and you would not see it. It's the same thing.
It's creating enough gravity to bend light.
So if it's bending light, so for instance, when you see light, when you talk about when you're in a desert and you see the heat coming off the ground, and it creates this effect of like those
are just vibrating air molecules.
So it creates its own gravity field.
Yeah.
So therefore, you wouldn't actually be able to see it. We're seeing it through the field. So when we see it making these weird movements and all this stuff, that's only what we're seeing through the field. It may not even be moving that fast to them. Like they might just be like, okay, well, I want to go over here, and then boop, he's over there, and then or he's like, oh, it's different because we're seeing it through a field.
Yeah.
So that was what I'm saying. It's like
we have to only see it through the field. The light has to bounce back for us to be able to see it.
So for us to be able to see it, that's my point. That's where you go, oh, fuck me running. Like this shit is fucking beyond you. It's beyond you. At some point, you're like, okay, this is pretty intriguing. Like, why can't we? And I remember during that series. I'm sorry to go off on a tangent here, but during that session when he was talking, Joe Rogan was talking to Bob Lazar, that podcast they had. He was explaining how they were able to communicate with somebody via like radio through that, and he was like, that doesn't make any sense. How the fuck can you communicate with a radio through a gravity field? We couldn't penetrate it with a blowtorch or a fucking sledgehammer.
Yeah.
How the fuck could you communicate through?
And if you couldn't see the light, guess what? Radio's on a lower frequency of the spectrum that light is on.
That's what I'm saying. So
you wouldn't be able to.
But you were saying this swarm of orbs. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, they're basically just drones, and it's a sphere, which is a cube encased in a sphere, and so because of that, it's able to immediately change direction because it doesn't have this huge, massive body to it. The aerodynamics are very good. It's super light. It's just basically an engine and a computer, and they're all able to move in unison, which like that is the reason why it's Black Ops is because that's going to be what's in the next like 20, 40 years of the future of the Air Force, and like they can't let people know that because that is super dangerous. Imagine instead of spending $500 million building one F-35 or one F-24, you can just mass produce these for like
drones.
Hey, it's $10 million for a drone, for maybe even less than now, because the technology is getting there. So you can just have thousands of these, and they can all have armaments on them, and you can just fly them over an area and just immediately.
Fuck that.
Each one can target something, so you can have it blink in
up
an
to
area.
Was it up to like 6 inches? Like it could target it, or
it's like 6 inches or a foot. Yeah, these smart bombs can hit something.
Like, these things that are strategically placed, fucking things can just be like, oh, I can hit somebody within this far of a distance.
Yeah, and they're still gonna have like 12 pounds of C4 in it.
Dead.
And that's gonna
dude. Probably a quarter pound would fucking fuck you. A grenade has how much in it? A grenade.
It has a lethal radius of 4 meters, but that's because of fragmentation, not because of shockwave.
Oh well, I think it's what do they say that the frags are more or less about just compression. I think they're like more if you're in a room with a frag, it's frag. So they call it a frag because of the fragments, obviously. Yeah, right? That's the word they use. And that's why grenades have a certain shape and a certain way, so they break off actually break off in multiple directions.
Yeah.
And that's what actually kills you.
The actual shockwave, because there's only
if you're in a small room,
or a quarter pound explosive in it, it's not a whole lot. Yeah, if you're in a room where it actually compresses the wave back,
no, you're fucked.
You're gonna bleed out your ears immediately.
But yeah, no, these, nah, dude, you don't want to be anywhere near that shit.
12 pound C4, like no, you can level.
You're done. You're done.
Yeah,
like what's it called? Like you're dead. You're just dead. You're just dead.
Okay. But yeah, so the whole point of that whole thing is these Navy pilots found the black site, and everyone kept calling them UFOs, but they were like, this was future weapons testing, but we just stumbled upon, and we probably shouldn't have said anything. And so for every UFO you find, I bet you most of them are going to be explained through some kind of like Black Ops thing. Oh, there you go. That sounds way better.
I want to be able to hear you, man. I'm sure they want to hear you too. So, yeah, man. But yeah, no, like I said, man, I'm just so fucking fascinated by this stuff. I love this stuff, man. It's so exciting. I think that we have a lot to learn about and it's not about what's really out there. It's what's up with us. Like we have a problem with what's out there. That's what it is. It's not.
We fear what we don't know.
Right, and it's we're so fucking primitive in so many ways. Like our way of dealing with something that's brand new to us is conquer it, take it in, examine the shit, and then fucking alter it to what we want. Like that's basically like, oh, America, oh, we love this place, it's so great. Oh, we're gonna take it over, and then we're gonna enslave everybody, and then they want then we'll give them their land, we'll give them their little place to be. And we'll share everything.
And I'm so glad.
Well, really, we don't do that. Like, really, we're just gonna give them just enough where they feel like they have their own shit, but it's not really their shit.
I'm really glad you brought this
up. We'll give them reservations, and then we'll be like, okay, it's there. That's how shitty. Like, that's the bane of human existence is just being that way of like, oh, I'll conquer it, take it over, and now it's mine. And then now we'll give you just enough to feel like it's yours. You know, and I think it's horseshit, in my opinion. I think it's a terrible mindset to have, and I'm not saying everybody's that way.
No,
I'm just saying
I'm on the same page as you. I just feel like I can grow off that idea. Like I've already thought about this. And I think
it's so frustrating, you know, because like, you know, it's like the whole thing that came off of like where we switched it up, and it was like, you know, everyone was like, you know, it's not Indians or Native Americans. Like that's a really sensitive topic, you know, and my like I said, I've gotten to meet people who are straight up Native Americans who have a specific tribe they're a part of, and I've even met people who have been a part of the tribe from the movie Dances with Wolves, like actually of that tribe, like fucking, you know, and they told me these things, and I was like, man, that's fucked. Like I listened to their story and listened to like the oppression and what they've been through, but also a lot of positive things that they've done and what they do every year with their families and how they still get to get together and all. Like it's just so much fucked up shit, But like to go back to like the whole species thing, like what we do is just like we just do it, like we do it all the time. Like okay, we have this new alien species, and we're no, no, what we're gonna do. We're gonna try to shoot them down and fucking examine it and just and then try to reverse engineer their technology to make us better.
Yeah, to use it against them.
To use it against them. Like, get the fuck out of here, bro.
And that's the best
we're
part
gonna
about
go. We're gonna go against
all the
them?
sci-fi.
Are you fucking kidding me? Are you
is
kidding? Oh,
to
come on,
explain
man.
on how humanity is a
bro.
plague. And the
Jesus.
and the thing is like, where did I start? You were how we take everything over. So okay, so after watching all the sci-fi and the philosophy I've gone through, what I feel like the highest epitome of like not just technology, what makes us great would actually be our evolution of like morality and like our understanding of like how things should be treated. Because just because we see another race, like they should be treated as like an equal life form, but except in every sci-fi, it's always like how we're gonna exploit them or whatever resource they have, how we're gonna deal with them, like how the terrible movie of Avatar was, on how like it was basically Pocahontas but of space, on how they saw these
I don't think we would.
people would
I don't
murder
think
them.
that would happen at all. But hey, I don't think it would happen that way. I mean, yes, there are some things that happen in that film that I would be like, okay, that would be what we want to try to take over. But then like how are you gonna have the amount like so?
How are you gonna justify
here's my
argument
argument.
Genocide.
Here's my argument. You would first of all not have the resources to do that and be like, oh, we have a whole fucking battalion
We
here,
have an army here.
bro. They have a planet.
They're in a whole nother star system. They're
Like,
light years away.
No, you know how you do it? You fucking fly in ships and they shoot them from fucking outer
From
space.
orbit. Yeah, they
Like,
orbit
you don't
bombardment.
you don't try to fucking take over the fucking what were they called? They were called the
Na'vi.
The Na'vi. You don't fucking try to take them over in a fucking aerial battle in the floating island. Like what the like. James Cameron, man, I really love that film. Don't get me wrong, man. But there's certain things where I'm like, listen, man. If I've known anything, and from watching Star Trek, motherfucker, you get a cruiser fucking thing in there, and you blast them from space.
You could just literally,
and they're done.
You could just literally drop pieces of like tungsten or of like titanium from space.
You
and
could
the
drop
gravitational wave from
you
that.
could drop plutonium on that shit, and they're all gonna die from radiation poisoning in like 6 months.
Actually, plutonium apparently. Oh yeah, right. Yeah,
fucking
they get hella cancer. Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying it's right. I'm just saying like,
No, you're not just fine, but like there are better ways than like trying to fly in a fleet that could get destroyed from other flying creatures.
Right, exactly.
How terrible that was.
There's certain things where I'm like, okay, there's like you could fucking
But
do some really fucked up shit.
But back on the morality, like I've been watching a lot, like because Stargate just got back onto Netflix. I was like, I used to watch it as a kid. I've been watching it, and all the most advanced races have like a completely different understanding of like morality. Like they're way above us. Like whenever we do something messed up, because we're trying to get alien technology to defend us from like the evil Goa'uld, and they like see us, we're trying to get it, and they're like all like look down on us. Like you're just gonna kill each other, or you're gonna like use it to kill someone else later on. Like you don't get advanced weapons. Like between that and then like Star Trek, like morality, like the advancement morality is actually the true level of our advancement society, and that makes sense because
would you equate that as like a higher conscience? Like we're above now we're past that lower level thinking. We're a higher conscience. Like we're just
you know what? Probably
like we're bettering ourselves in a way.
Because there was a professor, I can't remember who it is. I'm just quoting something right now, but she was, asked her class what think the first sign of humanity was of civilization, and it was like, oh, fire, the wheel, tools to hunt. And it's like when they first got into tribes and communities, like nah, the first time that someone could get an injury and be treated for it, like I say, they broke their leg and the community got together and picked up the slack. Was the first sign of civilization, that it was no longer like the hunting and gathering was no longer just individual and just reproductive, but they were creating civilization because the fact that they could take care of the poor and weak. And I feel like that is like the more you can advance that part and how you can uplift everyone around you is a higher level of civilization.
Yeah, you can move this, bro. Move that motherfucker.
I just don't want to be like screaming into
Dude,
it.
get in there, man. Get
it in there.
Get up in there, bro. Like you can literally just like move this fucker and just run this joint, bro. Just run it.
Yeah.
Run it. But that makes perfect sense for one. Because that creates a sense of like actual like for one, like community. So like when you start looking out for your young and your elderly and like you start doing that, like I think that's a higher level. There's a big argument about like how the human brain just exploded. and we just went from fucking, slamming rocks together and nothing to just fucking boom. We have a consciousness, and we think about all this other stuff. There's like a level where the human brain just jumped like 17 levels. There's like a weird fucking thing.
I personally don't think that, but that is what everyone. That's
what
everyone's saying.
I think that we evolved. I think we are one of the species that figured out how to survive.
Yeah.
And we just got through it, and we evolved and we got better. And while I understand that like other animals didn't, because we were there was a point when we weren't the apex predator. We were like the fucking
we were scavengers.
We were scavengers. We were hunter gatherers, is what we called it, hunter gatherers.
Yeah.
And we weren't. And then we realized that we could use our knowledge and our skills to become the apex predator. And then we would go, oh, if saber-toothed tigers live or if fucking these big-ass Bengal things live here, we're going to stay the fuck away from that area and then make a town and make this and make barriers and defend ourselves. And then go, oh shit, they don't like lots of sound and lots of like light and stuff. Oh cool, we got to that point.
We hunted them down.
I'm sure we did. I'm sure we fucking did.
We either cornered them into an area and burnt it down with fire, or we were able to corner them and have enough of us to throw spears at the saber-tooth tigers. But we made them our bitch. Because there are two things about humanity that have pervaded through all of existence. If we can't kill it, we will fuck it. And so. Like, we keep thinking that we killed because there's like 6 species of hominoids that we believe existed at one time. And we know that Neanderthals existed, and we think we killed them, and then we find out that like a bunch of people in Europe have like 2% Neanderthal DNA in them. So if we can't kill them, or if we can't fuck them, we will kill it. Is basically, and that makes a lot of sense about humanity. Like, we fear things we don't know or understand, and sex is how everything operates. Like, everything has something to do with like sex and like reproduction. But if we can't do that, then we'll kill it.
But isn't our actual goal in life as a species is to procreate, create offspring, and continue to spread our seed, so to speak, like to create a male, to spread this and keep going forward. That's essentially like the goal. That's
almost 1 billion years of evolution
that's all it is.
That's been the consistency
to survive.
Yeah.
And now we're at this stage of our humanity where we're like, oh shit, like I don't need to have an offspring to have a good life or this and that. Yeah. Now we can be like, oh cool, I can just fuck off and die.
Yeah.
Or I could be 65 years old and just plug some 22-year-old and be like, I'm good to go.
That's someone else's problem. That kid is someone else's.
No, my fucking problem. I'm gonna kick rocks in like 3 years.
You got 20 years of life left in you, so that's all it really is required to make sure that kid grows up right.
Fucking, oh my god, we gone soft, dude. We gone soft as a species, man. The fuck? But it's true though. It's totally true.
No, actually, I believe that we've been evolving at a crazy high rate, like more so than previous generation. Because like there was like 100,000 years or 600,000, some crazy number that we went from like being basically mostly apes to finally like the first sign of civilization, and then yet in the past. What is it? 100 years?
Maybe
even less than that we've gone from like one level of intelligence to a whole nother idea. And the best way to explain it is like, imagine back. I think I've already talked to you about this. Imagine back in the day when they went to the store and there'd be one kind of tomato paste, one kind of rice, one kind of beans, whatever. But they got what they could from their general store. Yeah. Now we walk down. There are 10 different companies, different prices. There are also different different flavorings and different stuff to it. And we can walk down the aisle.
And everything's at your fingertips now.
See everything and like be able to take in all the information and make decisions instantaneously from like what we want. And also I can pick up my phone, I can scroll through Facebook this fast and I see everything going on and I'm understanding everything. No other previous generation can take in information at that rate.
That's what I'm saying. So that in itself, for one, that by itself is already mind-boggling.
Yeah.
It's like, were we made for that?
They would sound out words still, and they could read perfectly fine. I mean, like we're over here.
Were we made for that? Probably not. No, I don't think we were. I think at some point, like I was talking about. I think at one point I was talking to somebody about how like actual like anxiety and where it derives from actually is really important when you're living in an environment like actual like normal, like, so for instance, like a regular level of anxiety would be like you wake up in the morning. You're having to scavenge for food, or you have to get yourself together to go hunt. Like there's a certain level of like a primal, like you have a sense. Like, it's actually healthy to have that sense of like, oh fuck, I gotta go find food. A lot of times, like there's instances where like how are animals able to be so calm even though every move they make is like life or death.
Yeah.
Like life or death. It's like, you watch those series of like Survivor Man and fucking Bear Grylls, and yeah, it's all recorded and fucking there's a camera crew there, something goes wrong, he survives. But realistically, like every decision you make is life or death, and that's the way it is. Now, animals,
get injured or doing something.
Animals don't think that way. They don't go, okay, it's life or death. They just go, I need to eat, so they eat. And there's no like, oh my god, if I don't eat, I'm gonna fucking. And if I don't eat, in 4
there
hours,
is some level of life or death.
but
in it.
like-
That's why
but
they're
like-
hella skittish.
But okay, so like, I'm I'm talking on my ass a little bit here, but like, certain things, there's a certain level of like, I think it's important for people to experience that sense of like everything isn't at the end of your fingertips. Like, there should be a point where you're like, hey man, you should fucking go out there and do this and not have a fucking Safeway down the street, or not be able to go, I'm gonna go pick this up at fucking Walmart, or I'm gonna go buy this here and have this. Like, there should be like a point where someone goes, hey, let's go camping, but for real camping. Like, not the glamping shit, not the shit where you go get a fucking
Just some underwear
trailer.
and a fucking knife.
Like, not okay, that's excessive. But my point though is like hike 5 miles into your campsite and hike back to get the water and like the beer, and like go back out there. Yeah, gotta get the beer.
I think that'll probably help you appreciate. Like,
I did that shit. I remember doing a camping trip where we went to Colfax, and a friend, was it? I think at the time it was my girlfriend's sister's boyfriend, and he panned for gold along this river, and we hiked in 3.5 miles to this spot along the river up in Colfax. Beautiful area, and there's these guys who were living down by the river, and they had a huge campsite. I was like, they're probably homeless guys, or they're like, I just had this weird mind, like, oh, these guys are weird. I want to go talk to them. And I remember getting down there, and we set up camp. I hiked back for the beer and the Jaeger because that's how I roll. And I went and got
good man.
9 miles just for beer. And we didn't have our cooler, so we found a little spot by the river, and I dug out sand and stuck all the beer inside the river.
Nice.
The river was like 42 degrees, perfect for a beer. So I'm like, okay, I just shoved the Jaeger and all that stuff into a little like pocket of water and like in the sand, so it didn't go anywhere. And I just like, all right, it's cool. So that was my refrigerator. And then we spent the whole day gathering wood, to make a fire.
Yeah.
And I was like, and there's no cell reception, so if something bad happened, we're fucked. We got to hike back 3 miles to get back. And I remember being there. I remember being so calm. Like, I didn't have any worries about like what was happening. Now at the time I wasn't working. I didn't have a job. I was unemployed. So that's a contributing factor that I have to consider. Like, okay, I didn't have a job to worry about.
You know,
so
that crushing weight of reality on your shoulders.
Right. But I remember just being out there with my girlfriend at the time, and then her sister and her boyfriend, and being like, fuck, this is it. Like, this is us just being out here, And I liked that concept. It was cool. And then I think the best part about that was at the end of the night when we would sit down and make dinner, and we'd have this campfire, and we'd all sit around the campfire, and we'd all kind of reflect on, like, the day or, like, shit we did in our lives. And then the guys who were next door to us ended up coming over, and they have fucking moonshine. Good shit, like the goods.
Think about
really good.
how little moonshine gets you drunk.
Oh god, it got me fucked. I was a bad decision. First of all, it was a bad decision for one, because two,
you're not.
I wouldn't drink. I wouldn't drink. I don't drink river water. I'm not drinking that shit.
Ugh.
I wouldn't drink it. So we brought down gallons of water, and we only brought down like 4 or 5 gallons.
For how long?
We were there for 2 days.
Oh, that should be.
So like I was like, oh, okay, I thought it was a little too less, but the guy that was there with us was like, nah, we're fine. 4 or 5 gallons, we're fine. If something bad happens, we can ration. Like, okay. So we're there, and these guys come over, and they're really nice. They're actually really nice guys. They're panners. They go out and they pan for gold. That's all they do. And we're drinking, and he's like, hey man, try some moonshine. And I'm like, oh yeah, cool. It's that spice. Like I'm thinking like the fucking moonshine that everyone knows what I'm talking about. That moonshine that's like spice, but it's not really
like
powerful.
Apple spice?
Yeah, apple spice.
Apple pie or something like
apple
that?
pie. It's not really potent. It just tastes good. These fuckers come over here
Because
with
regulates that
They
40%.
come over here with this shit that you could use to light a fucking fire with. Like, you could just be like, here you go, doop, and then like light charcoal with it. This shit is like
pure
fucking
alcohol.
He's like, here, have some, and he didn't even have it in a fucking. Like, everyone goes, oh, it's in a mason jar. He had it in a fucking milk jug with like a plastic cap. I'm like, he goes, here, man, try this, and I'm like, and it's not
That's
clear.
probably better because it's not gonna just break hitting a rock or something.
Oh,
like carrying a
you know,
milk
it's
jug
more,
around.
way more logical.
Yeah.
It's way more logical. I mean, come on. They're the fucking. They knew. They're like, I'm not gonna put it in a glass jar. Glass is heavy for one, and two, I'm not gonna be fucking. Glass is way heavy. If you
Did
have
you
like,
really just trust a dude who's like,
Oh, I did.
was
Oh, I did.
homeless
Oh, I did.
with
Oh, for sure.
moonshine out of a milk jug?
For sure. For sure.
You would
I
take
make
some
bad.
drugs for
I
some
was
bad people.
Let's see.
Like,
I was 23, 22, 23. Yeah, I was 23,
yeah,
22.
that was really bad. I would have not trusted that. That would have been hella sketch.
Fucking hey, man, you live. You live.
I would
you
have
learn.
watched you take it and watch you the science experiment. Before
I
would
did.
take
I
it.
did drink it. I did drink it, and it was really good. It tasted good. But I had one sip, and I was like my whole body warmed up for one. That was weird. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not used to you're literally like when I had the shot earlier today. Like I was like, oh shit, like I got super hot. I was like, holy fuck, that's how my body respond. But this was a different. Like you feel like
I've
you're
had
in
real
a
moonshine
sauna.
before.
You feel like you're in a sauna. Like God, is this you know? And then I remember the guy, was it my girlfriend's sister's boyfriend going, hey man, just drink some water. Just drink some water. I'm like, why? He's like, just you had real moonshine. It's probably behoove you to have some fucking water real quick.
You're
I
not
go,
used to the
okay.
moonshine.
He goes, man, there's nothing worse than having a hangover while you're camping or not around any electric light. It's you're just in nature. So there's no waking up and going and having an ibuprofen or like, you know, you're stuck. You're like, you're going to have to deal with this shit the whole time you're here.
Yeah, like you're an injured animal in the in the wilderness.
Yeah. Wait, do that again?
You're just in your tent or something.
You're fucking dying.
Yeah.
Like, this fucking sucks.
It's like, I might as well put
Fucking
Bambi out
hate
of
my
misery.
life.
This
I fucking
motherfucker
hate it.
did not plan well.
Oh no, it was good. Actually, funny story about that was fucking. I forgot to waterproof or Scotch guard my tent. Apparently, it's a thing. I didn't know that. A friend of mine who camps all the time.
They're supposed to be made out of nylon, which is not supposed to be.
Well, here's the thing. Here's the nylon is waterproof. The liner where it attaches to the tarp at the bottom is not, so that it leaked through the seams. Yeah, that's what I didn't. He goes, are you supposed to Scotch guard that? And I go, what do you mean? He goes, before you go camping, it's the thing. He goes, you set your tent up out front of your house, and then once it's set up, you take Scotch guard and you spray the whole tent down, and that secures. It creates this barrier so the rain doesn't go through the seams because the actual tarp, the material that the tent's made of, is waterproof. It will not penetrate that. But if you don't spray it, the seams where it'll drip through. So I'm sitting in my fucking tent like a fucking genius I am, like, oh, this will be fun. And and all of a sudden my feet start getting like cold. I'm like sleeping. I'm like, what the fuck is this shit? And I look down and there's a puddle of water and I go, fuck, this isn't good. It rained.
You had to move your tent and get onto an incline.
Well, it doesn't matter. It wasn't like the heavy rain you hear like when you're fucking. It wasn't like the fucking Seattle rain where it was like just fucking pouring down for 3 days. It was that mist, that shitty ass mist that you have when you're fucking like running in it and just puddles up in your eyes and just like sucks.
I don't run, so I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay, well, if you know what I'm talking, like if you guys know what I'm talking about, you know it's like that mist. It's not like really rain. It just drives you nuts. It gets right in your eye and puddles up, and it's just, I'd rather just run in actual rain, like fucking heavy rain. That's like the coolest thing. It makes you feel like a fucking like champion boxer. You're just fucking running through that shit, trudging through the shit, just being a boss. That's the kind of rain I like to run in, man. It's real. It's hardcore all the way.
Do you run to feel cool? Is that
no?
it?
I think running is important. I hate running actually. I fucking hate it. I hate running so bad.
Do you take a break real quick and smoke?
No, man.
We gotta keep it going.
We're not gonna fucking take a break now. Damn. Dude, we're balls deep in this shit, bro.
Yeah, we are.
We don't take breaks in this shit.
We're
Okay?
not taking a break.
We don't take
not.
breaks.
I haven't had a pee yet, so we're good.
You fucking jinxed it now. You fucking jinxed it.
No, I'm feeling good. If it's gonna be anyone, it's probably gonna be you.
Now that you fucking said it, now I'm like, okay.
Yeah, because you're feeling like I'm not. I know it's still not gonna be me for a while.
It's all good, man. Or is it shot time again? Fuck, man.
Yeah, which is good because we have like 6 or 7 of these, right? But we are still on our first one, but we're feeling good.
I'm on number 2 right now. What are you doing?
Oh, well,
yeah, I'm ready to fucking smack you in the face with this goddamn
I'm
thing.
like a shot ahead of you, so that's still like a whole nother drink.
Oh God. Cheers, folks.
Feels like I'm 22 again being here right now.
America, fuck yeah. Speaking of America.
Yep.
Did you hear about this craziness? So I'm hearing this from like an outside source. Not even outside. I think it was on TV. This guy was on testimony for saying that that there's voter fraud, and he fucking hacks a goddamn fucking voting machine in front of Congress while he's testifying. You hear
I've
this shit?
heard nothing about this.
He hacked a fucking. No, I watched it. Literally, I watched the fucking. He hacked it. He fucking did it. It's like that movie, Live Free Die Hard.
I don't know. Yeah.
Where he like hacks the fucking.
Where he hacks
defense. Yeah.
I don't know if that's even possible because I don't know if they're even connected to the internet. They might be closed circuit.
They are. And and here's how I know they are. And this is just I shouldn't say I know. I should say I think. Is that how are they going to be accurate, knowing where their votes are, unless there's somebody there monitoring it?
Well, yeah. So, oh my God, I've actually looked into the voter fraud and like some of their stories. And
I'm not saying I'm not picking a side. I just think that there's some fucked up, shady shit going on in this world.
If there was voter fraud, I want to be found out. I don't want there to be any voter fraud happening because that's bullshit.
Fuck yeah.
Whoever wins.
Yeah,
but so there's like obviously everyone who's like inputting machines, and then there's like floor bosses, and then there's also like the IT specialists who like try and like reset it and like, what did you turn it on and off? Like, is it working? Who would try and like fix any technical issue. But then the boss can just report it every hour, like what their current new ones are. They just report it to who is ever above them to the entire state. Because there's only so many counties, and there's only like one per county. There's only like 4 per state, like counting places. They could just call up and be like, "Hey, so this is what we reported by this hour. This is what it is." And they can just report it to the news. I don't think it has to be connected to the internet, but I see why you would think that. But neither of us know truthfully if it is connected to the internet.
True.
Yeah.
Very, very true. I don't know. I think there's a lot of. I think there's a lot of conniving fucking cunts in this goddamn, in the political thing. There's a lot of conniving fucking pieces of shit that they're just fucking with stuff. But then I also think there's some good people in there who are trying to do their best, but they're like, all right.
There's only a couple of them, and they're just like,
I don't want to ruin this job. I fucking get paid a lot, and I've been here for like 100 years, so I'm just gonna keep riding this out until I die. But at the same time, man, there's a lot of shit that goes on in this world that we probably will never know about if we're even told the right thing. And it leads back to the same thing we talk about. Like, it leads right back to what we talk about with fucking with Close Encounters, man.
Morality.
We're only being told. It's like what was it? I just watched this YouTube video. It always pops up on my feed. It's called it's a House of Cards. It's that one movie, one series that came out called The Newsroom. When it had the guy from Dumb and Dumber. I can't think of his name right now. Where he goes, America's not the greatest country in the world anymore. And he goes, we're 5th in this, we're 6th in that.
Yeah,
it's the most honest point.
Yeah.
It's called The Newsroom, I think. I think it is. I hope I'm right. And like it pops up, and it's just like, it just gives you like a point of view where you're like, yeah, we're not that great anymore.
Yeah, we just keep thinking we are.
Fucked. Well, that's the whole mindset. It's like everybody thinks that way. I mean, fuck, communist Russia thought that. Well, that didn't go well. That went streaming straight down. There's a lot of contributing factors with that, but yeah, I think every country wants to be the greatest country in the world. I think everybody has that like feat of like, oh, they want to be the best, and that's just a straight up like competitiveness. But what really defines you as a great country? Like, are we gonna eventually evolve and move forward and think about the betterment of our society,
humanity, and not just a country?
Like, are we gonna actually like look forward? Are we gonna look out for one another in a way to where we're not just going, okay, cool, we're gonna pick right or left wing, we're gonna go this or this because this is what we represent? What are we gonna think? Like, at one point we're gonna okay, are we gonna say, let's do what's right, and not like right wing, but like what's the right way to do this? And I think the shitty part is like, I don't know if there is a right way, because I think we're so convoluted and polluted with all our bullshit that we just can't just go, okay, like, what did I hear the other day? I think like politicians should have a fucking shroom trip or like a fucking acid trip, to get them out. Like everybody who is in Congress should just
send them back into reality.
Just take fucking peyote or take fucking some kind of drug and like, or not peyote. Was it like fucking
ayahuasca?
What's ayahuasca? or MD. What's the other one?
MDMA? No,
Not
that's ecstasy.
DMT. I think everybody in Congress should do a DMT trip. Like that shit would open your fucking eyes. I'm super down to try that stuff, but it does kind of lightweight scare me a little bit.
The Senate and all
it does
that,
kind of lightweight
and
scare
like,
me.
Why shit is so terrible, why it happens the way it is, isn't because the people who go for these jobs are obviously probably narcissistic and like egotistical and just not down with reality. They're in their own little world and bubble and they're treated that way, but also how they get there is through corporate sponsorship. Like they have to run a campaign and have ads, and they get bought out, and that is like one key factors that has to change for us to have a country that's not won by the 1%, run by rich people, is to actually have people voted for because they believe in them, not just because they've seen their face and recognize their name and didn't have a smear campaign on the other person. That is the such a huge issue, because the most common people, like almost everyone, they don't want to go to war. They don't care about all these every ridiculous stuff. They want to just work, fuck their wives, live their life, raise their children, and just have a good life. They don't.
But here's the thing, Kyle, is that there's always going to be this sense of there's always gonna be the sense of like different thinking. There's always gonna be that person who disagrees or doesn't agree, and there's never gonna be a time where we can even if you are. Here's the thing: is like I've never ever been involved in politics in a way where like it consumed my life. I have a lot of family who are involved in that shit. I have a lot of family who do that, and I just stay the fuck out of it. I have enough shit going on in my life to where I have to worry about fucking left or right. The fuck? I'm over here like, hey man, aliens are the fucking shit, man. Fuck yeah, that's how I'm at. I'm like, hey, fuck yeah, man. If they want to come down and visit, fucking, they can be on my podcast. Fuck it.
That's totally fine. Do what makes you happy. Like, right. If it doesn't make you happy, don't worry about it.
Yeah, but like my thing is like, there's got to be some level or some sense of like, okay, at some point you have to kind of go, like, what's the right move? And here's the thing is like everybody has their own, and this is where as individual people, like people are going to have an idea to go this way, but like my thing is like a lot of times people just kind of follow because they're being told, or they're just following someone else's ideas, or they're following just because someone said this because they're part of something. They're like, okay, I got to follow that.
That's called propaganda.
And it's horse shit. Like, why can't you just be like
individual
person? Like why can't you just do this?
Oh my God! Why would I? Do I have to explain why propaganda exists?
Why? I think we all know why propaganda.
But that's what all this is instead of what news is supposed to be is unbiased. It's just supposed to be the facts that they collected. This is the facts that they collected from it, and then you're supposed to decide for yourself. That's what news is supposed to be. But news has itself become divided and has picked its side, and that has exacerbated the problem of the division in our country between the left and the right in politics, and why shit is so like, oh, if you're a liberal or Democrat, you're evil, or people are like, if you're right, you're probably racist. And
I think it's this horse shit. Like you're just gonna, and I'm sure that's like probably been talked about so many times, but Jesus, at some point you have to kind of go, okay, guys, come on, like let's get real here.
And see, we grew up in Vacaville.
You eventually pick a side.
Yeah.
You pick a side. It's like when you went to government class in high school and you finally became a senior, like, okay, you're taking government.
Yeah.
And like your teacher, which we had this teacher who was like, okay, what's your belief? And you're like this. He goes, all right, you're this. And I'm like, wait, I don't even. Yeah. And he'd be like, you're this because you think that way. And I'm like, that's fucked up. He's like,
I don't agree with everything of the party.
He goes, that's government. I go, I don't like government anymore.
Yeah.
I fucking hate government now.
Like me personally,
I fucking hate it.
I'm a heavy supporter of the Second Amendment, but that's about where it ends Republican for me. And then for Democrats, like I understand why, but I don't like. It's not like I support everything, but I don't want to ever pick a side from when I vote. That's one reason I voted for their party, because the fact that we're having my ideas contained to a party is bullshit. Like I feel like that doesn't represent me. Just because I'm like, hey, you represent most of my ideas, but now I have to go along with like the rest of everything. It doesn't seem like I'm voting because I actually like believe in the leader, but because of I have to have loyalty to the party.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
That's what I'm saying. Like, there's a certain sense of like
yeah,
individualism, or like a person who's like has a certain mindset that they want to do. Like, hey, if you want to be you and do this and believe this, that's fine. Do it. Go for it. Be you. If you stand by it, bro. Like, if you believe that a porn star could change the world, they can change the world. If that's what you think, do it. Go for it. But at the end of the day, you got to just do what makes you happy. If you think that this is right, this is right. But the problem is now is that there's, because we have these social media outlets there, you're constantly connected with everything going on in the world.
yeah.
Everybody has a fucking voice now. Everyone has a fucking
And everyone
opinion.
who is just so stupid.
So
has a
now
voice
so now you have these people who have voices now who didn't have voices before, who were just fat. I'm not even gonna say it, but like pieces of shit who live in their fucking mom's basement, who fucking jack off to fucking hentai, fucking porno, pixelated hentai from fucking Japan, like, and they just pieces of shit who just voice their opinion that doesn't mean shit to nobody. But they can now. They have a voice.
And now we end up reading
have a
it,
thing.
and now it's a thing to us. I know.
Now, and it impacts people. It makes a difference in people's lives.
I'm just angry at the fact that we don't vote on the idea itself, but we vote on the party. Right?
That's just the way
Like,
it is.
if something
That's
makes
how
sense,
politics is.
if
It's
something
always
makes
been that
sense,
way.
we should vote
It's
on
always
that.
been
If
that
something makes
way.
sense, it's like, hey, that's a cool idea. I like that. Let's go with that. But then there'll be, and there's this other politics of like, oh well, what about this other idea we want to run? So now we're not going to pass it until they're willing to pass our bill, and so now we have to go to this war, which is the whole point of the fucking stimulus. That's why it's held up. When they got that, look at this, almost a 6,000 page bill, 6,000 pages just for a check, because they're trying to shove in so much other shit, and then everything was not redacted. It's not redacted, but it's edited, and so it'd say like, oh, so line for this part of the bill is actually go to this source to go see what it actually says now because it's been updated. And so honestly, most of the bill you can't even read because it's basically telling you to like go on this scavenger hunt for what it's actually trying to say, which makes it ineligible. And then they didn't even give him the bill. They didn't even give him the bill until they showed up for it.
I don't get involved.
2 hours before they had to vote, they got it. 6,000 pages. And they're forced to vote on it.
Shit is crazy, dude. Shit is fucking crazy.
That shit I hate.
I get so fucking frustrated sometimes. And at the same time, I almost get mad at myself. Honestly, I get mad at myself. And this is why I'm not that overall involved with politics. I don't. I stay out of it because it would drive me.
Dude, I'm heavily
the
in
way
it.
my mind works alone. Like, I hardly am able to shut off like being in work mode, let alone trying to be in politics mode.
That's true. This guy stays in
I
work
mean,
mode
fucking
like
Jesus! It's hard for me to even
at least
like,
18 hours a day.
like I have to come home and like shut my brain off. Like, I have to come home like, okay, what am I gonna do? Okay, if I don't have like one beer, I'll have a beer just to kind of.
That's what the car drive home is for.
Oh no!
That's what car drive home for, to just like turn off from work.
No, I can't do that. I used to be able to do that with like metal music or like a podcast, but now I'm like, nah, fuck that. Like, even then, like, it takes at least 4 to like 5 hours for me to go, okay, you're in peaceful time now. Bring it down.
You might want to apply for another manager position in a less stressful company.
No, it's not. And here's the thing, okay, but realistically, like, there's obviously a lot going on in the world. Okay?
Walmart is cutthroat.
Okay, right. Well, let's not go into that. Let's steer clear of that. My point though is that there's times and places for things, and in politics, a lot of times politics like sucks you in, and it creates a stress, and it creates a level of like of anxiety that you don't want to experience. Whereas like you can control that, you can remove yourself from it. It's different, okay, and sometimes people get too consumed in it and becomes like becomes like a part of life, like, okay, I won't hang out with this cat because he's a fucking Republican, or I won't hang out with this guy because he believes that or this and that.
True.
Like, I like to have friends.
Some people are like
I don't
that.
know. I'm the kind of person who likes to have friends who have different ideas.
Yeah.
Because those are the kind of people I want to hang out with.
You have challenging ideas.
Someone who
as a
fucking
person.
like, I have friends right now who like, I have a friend of mine. He fucking just has this like, his mindset and how he thinks just baffles me. Like, how the fuck can you? But I like it. I like that he thinks that way because it opens my mind a little bit. It goes, oh, okay. It makes me expand my thinking. And go, okay, maybe I should kind of question some of this shit. Maybe I should think about this.
And I've had to actually like confront that in my life, and I decide where do you draw the line in opinion? Because everything's an opinion, so everything honestly is like they're right and it's okay. I decided that I draw the line in my life is where racism is. If you're a racist, that's where I draw the line. Like, we're no longer going to be cool because I'm not fucking cool because you're okay like this. Other than that, whoever you vote for, whatever you believe in, like, that's totally fine. That's
okay,
that's your
okay.
right.
So on that same context, okay, I'll bridge that gap a little bit. So if someone thinks that way, they think that way. Yes. Do you approve with their mindset, with their concept of how they feel or how they feel? No, you don't. You don't approve of that at all. Like, you don't, like, that's not okay. You don't like that. Does that make that person a terrible person? That's debatable. You don't know the person. You're hearing their ideas. Like, you're like, okay, this person thinks this way. Okay, I'm sure we all fucking hated, Auschwitz. That piece of shit camp that fucking all these Jews died at. There's officers who were there who were just doing their jobs. Like, do we hate them? Well, yeah, they were following orders. I fucking hate the pieces of shit because they allowed this to happen.
But I wouldn't follow orders to, like,
they bad
murder
people?
a bunch of people. I would have been better than that.
Dude, you think for a goddamn second that we didn't give, as a goddamn fucking country, we didn't fucking invade some town where Germans were and smoke those motherfuckers?
We've done a lot of fucked up shit.
We've done some fucked up shit. You don't think that we?
No, to our own people.
I'm not saying that we didn't. It wasn't justified. Regardless, you don't think we've done bad shit too? Come on, bro. I'm just saying what they did was a crazy, horrible thing. I'm not trying to compare one to the other. I'm just saying that these instances like this happen. Like, yes, they were following orders. Yes, they make bad decisions.
I can explain already what you're asking. I can already explain. I already know what
I'm trying to say.
So
it's coming off wrong, but hey, whatever. Man.
So
that's what Fireball does. This motherfucker gave me Fireball now, and I'm all fired up, right? I'm like, oh, okay, what are we talking about next, motherfucker?
It's actually damn near almost a philosophical concept, and
but you see what I'm saying? Like, my point though is like about how yes, someone can have a different mindset, a different perspective, and you can not necessarily agree with it and not like it, but you can still hear them out. You can still talk to that person. You could still look at somebody and go, hey man, okay, you have this mindset or you have this idea, which I don't agree with. I don't agree with the fact that you hate someone based off of their skin color. I don't agree with that. But I will still hear you, and I will still talk to you like you're the same. Oh, I'll still acknowledge you as you're the same, but I don't agree with that. No, I think it's wrong.
I'm different on to where, like, if you're racist, like, I'm gonna treat you like you treat other people. Like, I'm gonna treat you like a lower human being because technically you are. And so how do I want to explain this? I can explain this beautifully, or do I want to just draw this out? So this really comes down to morality, and you said that everyone has done and made their own mistakes, but there is a a bottom line of why that happens, and it's how you view other people and on how they did these terrible actions and justifying it that in the end it was going to be better for the world. Like, they were trying to accomplish this great goal, and so I would actually like to start this off with a deep something that philosophy professors do as a thinking exercise.
To begin this topic, I'd like to say this.
So if you could end all of, like, diseases and war and everything that plagues society, but you had to kill one innocent little girl, you'd solve a ton of evil, ton of problems. But someone innocent, an innocent little girl, had to die to do it.
Man,
would you do it?
Oh man. You don't ask me that, dude. Because I'm murking her. Straight up. I'm like, all right, dude, listen. Like, but it had to be your daughter. I'd be like, is it the ugly one? And this sounds so terrible, but it's like, but at the end of the day, like, think about it. It's one person. But see, that's an argument you can go back and forth with. I can go back and forth with this. I can say, hey, listen.
I have an explanation for it all.
But listen, like, is one life worth
all in society?
It logically, yes. Logically, if you think logically, like if you're over here with Spock going through the process, like one life is worth an entire species, absolutely.
Yeah, one sacrifice.
Take that shit. But morally, is that right? Taking the life of a youth, of a small child,
innocent person.
Yeah,
and they use an innocent
small
child.
You're using the idea that they're a small child, that they're innocent, like all these variables to consider. Yes, absolutely. Like,
the point is that
if you were to ask me that same question, obviously we're in a platform where we're just talking about this stuff. But in real reality, someone asks you that question, like, no, like I'm not gonna be the one to make that choice. Why would I? Why do I?
That's a hard choice. Why do you have to live with it?
I wouldn't want to make that choice. I don't think anyone would want to make that choice. Now I'm saying that if it was up to, okay, you got to take this person and then all of humanity, or either kill this person and all of humanity dies. Like, well, why can't you take me? Like, take me then.
Self-sacrifice is like,
You know?
it's more morally just.
You know, because of our morality, we think like, hey,
Yeah.
it's a child, it's innocent. Like, why do they have to go? Why can't it be me? Or like, you know what I mean? But from a sense of like fucking primal state of like, okay, take it, like, you know, whatever, like take this person, and I'm not trying to, and that comes off cold, but at the same time, like nature's fucked.
I'm loving your answer, 'cause I already have the answer.
Nature's fucked, bro. If anybody out there understands, nature is a horrible fucking place. It's a horrible place for anything. If you guys even watched, like, I watched a documentary about meerkats, okay, which blew my fucking mind, okay, baby meerkats. Like less than like was like 30, like it was like 30% actually
60%
like
don't,
live.
60% don't make the adult
live. Like 30% live. Like it's a crazy amount. And one of their contributing factors on how they survive is scorpion. Like scorpions are their biggest adversaries. Okay, and what defines them as to become an adult, to actually live, is fending off these things. Like you have to imagine, like, and this is like where I think about this. And I know this is like going off on a tangent here, but like where I think about this and how they deal with it. Like they come across this thing that's brand new to them. That's like you and I both know these things are. I don't even want to.
You don't know the stingers are toxic,
fuck
or
that.
They have
like you don't know shit, right? So you see this. So they see this, and they're like, okay, whatever, and it lights them up and tries to get them, and they just grab it and kill it on sheer instinct. And the ones that do kill it become more than likely become adults. They learn, okay, these things are fucking crazy. They're fucking crazy. My point though is that there's a certain point in this world where we have to be able to go, okay, can we survive through this? Is it simply just a choice of going, okay, like okay, you're giving me a choice to where like we survive and we have to off like a youngling, okay, like, and this is like here's the really dark thing about it is like, you know, and this is like, you know, I hate to say it this way, but like people die every day. People die every fucking day. There's no way we can stop that from happening. It's just the way the world works. Nature kills every fucking day. Yeah,
without
it's probably
death,
like one of the biggest fucking gangsters in the world.
Live in a world of opposites.
You are never going to beat nature. Nature will throw a tsunami at you and kill 16,000 people in a fucking day.
All right.
Okay? You know? Like so you sit there and go, okay, like I'll solve all your, like if you do this, you do this. While it does sound like something that was real, it's just not.
So let me jump to the next part of the subject then. Killing the child would actually always be wrong because the ends never justify the means. No matter what the end goal is.
Hey, you stopped a life from being.
The means are never justified.
Something that could have potentially been something else.
If you're trying to do something good, if you have to commit a bunch of atrocities and evil in between, it's not justified. It's always just pure evil. It was always wrong. Mm-hmm. And so to bring that up is actually this concept has been used a lot throughout our history, and the best way to explain it is the Nazis. When they were actually euthanizing or sterilizing people with mental disabilities, so they couldn't reproduce and create more, and they would stop that lineage, and that was better for everyone.
Like loop back around. We started this literally,
Hitler,
and then boom, we loop
right back in it. And when they blamed Jews for all their problems, so then they enslaved them all to, you know, and do them forced labor, and then by the time they wanted to kill them all and thought that was going to do better, they committed all these atrocities thinking that they were the heroes, that they were doing the right thing because in the end it was supposed to be what's best for society. But what you got to step back is that Hitler was the first one to do this. This has been happening since the beginning.
It's been going on for a while.
It has been, and it's what we got to step back and realize that the ends do not justify the means. That committing this like really bad act is no longer justified just because it's going to help someone in the end. Mm-hmm. That is, we've always had that concept, and what always ends up happening is a genocide on so many scales, and there's still genocide going on right now. In the Middle East and Africa, there are so many. Oh my God, where do I want to start? Israelis are killing Palestine. Turkey's been trying to kill Israel. They all believe that they're evil and that expelling them from the world would make the world a better place. And then there's tribes in Africa who think the other tribe is evil and that, you know, going to war would make the world a better place. Justifications for evil acts. And it's like the truth is the journey is what is truly what matters. Is how we get to this end result
Right,
It needs to be
so-
justified.
Life. So the whole idea. So I get what you're saying. So like life is not about the destination, it's about the journey.
Yeah, is how we get there. Because
Okay.
otherwise, if we murder our entire way, we are not a good or just
No.
society. We just
So
murder everything.
I mean,
our
like
way.
you take it back to even before that. Like, you know how they said that war was a part of life. You know how wars happen and population control is the word I would like to use in this context. Is like, yeah, like we fucking constantly kill each other. Like it was like a normal thing. Like, you know, like, hey Joe, how's it going, man? Good, yeah. How was your day? Some night came by. I didn't pay my rent, so he offed my whole family. Yeah, it was a rough time, but I'll find a new wife. Like,
Yeah.
you know, it's
I'll
just, it's
fi-
like, you know, it's like.
I'll find a new slave piece.
You know, it's. I know that's a horrible like example, but like it's like what I just thought of now. It's just you know, like fucking. It was different. Like war and death were normal. Like it was normal like thing. It was normal. Like okay, someone died. Okay, shit happened. Like okay, it is what it is. Timmy went to war and died, and then now I got to create a new offspring and figure it out. You know, like okay, like this person went to war, and in some sense, like I was watching Tim Kennedy. That was his fucking name.
Tim
God
Kennedy.
damn it, Tim. I fucking figured
Anyone
it
who's
out.
actually been watching this entire thing, who's been watching from the beginning,
if you
don't
watch
worry about Googling it because you now have the answer. He finally
Yeah,
figured it out.
fucking Tim Kennedy. God damn it, that was what I was talking about at the very beginning of this an hour and a half ago. So fucking
All three of you, you have the answer now.
oh shit, I lost my train of thought. But like I said, it was like one of those moments where like fuck, I lost my train of thought, man. That was like it was there and it was gone. It was there and it's gone.
I'm sorry.
You got me. You got me. But like I said, man, it's that essence of like how we function as a species. We come in here, we take over, do our thing, and then we're like, okay, now that we figured everything out, what else can we fucking figure out? How can we manipulate the populace? How can we finagle this into our own advantage? I think that's how politics were involved, like how it was invented. Like someone just figured out, like, oh, hey, you know what? We just start throwing shit at people and just telling them lies, and they'll start believing us, and we get more power from it. I think that's how it started. I think it's true. I think it happened that way.
There's a lot of fucked up shit.
Dude,
Right off
there's
the
a lot
top.
of fucked up shit, bro. There's a lot of fucked up shit every day we fucking do this, man. It's crazy. But, yeah, man, fucking, dude.
Oh, yeah. Actually, to get back on, like before we skip over that fucked up shit from the top thing, let's go through some of the history that I have just been recently learning, which was because that book I've been reading, the one about how to end policing,
Oh,
which
right.
is a super biased, one-sided book.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it is.
I don't want to interject on that.
And
I'm sorry. I was being
Yeah.
silent for a reason because
Yeah.
I was like, I don't want to talk about
As
this.
I was reading it, I was like trying to be in the middle of it. I'm like, this is
I
like
was not
hell
trying to do it.
one-sided. But they did in the very beginning. They went through the entire history of the police when they first were created and what they actually did for their jobs. And so they were created like 1847. The first one were called the Bobbies, and they were in England. And then there's two of them created, and there's ones up in the north and then ones in the south of America. The South help regulate the slaves that like ran warehouses and other stuff within trade. They help keep the slaves in check and like because they could walk freely between stuff to do their jobs, and they help regulate everything. But in the North, their only job was to break up strikes and like to stop riots because the working conditions were so bad. There's so many people like rioting and striking to try and get better working conditions. The sheriffs, there's only a couple of them. The sheriffs were actually there for crime. But they got a police force just like they did in England, because that's what the first job in England was actually to stop riots for better working conditions. And that was the history of police for like almost 100 years, is that their job was to actually like be riot police and to break up strikes and to like shut down the beginnings of unions so that the rich people can still make more money. It's only recently that that's been a little bit different, that they actually have they actually try and stop crime and like investigate it. And that was never their true purpose from the beginning.
Wow.
And there's always been, you know, because we can look back at the past and be like, that's not how it is today, right? We can look at it. And so there was a bias between police of like, you know, even though they're police, they could look into a crime if it was with like a nice white person and not some like minority or someone who was poor. If something happened to like an outstanding member, they might do their job instead of being, it's a human being and then a crime was committed. And the fact that they're human and they deserve rights, and the fact that the crime was wrong from the beginning and them doing their job. So for like 150 years, like all they did was to maintain the status quo. And at the end of that chapter, they were like, which is funny because it's the only part I've even seen it in the book. It was like 2 sentences, and it was like, so the history of the police does not actually explain the current attitude and morality of current police. So I was like, okay, so finally there's like a little bit unbiased opinion that like some police are actually trying to do their job, because the entire book so far has just basically like just shit on them, and like not even just being like propaganda. They're like trying to like really explain it. So they go through like histories and circumstances and programs and how they're effective, how they're not effective, the actual raw data, and try to explain it. I'm like, here's this issue, here's what we're currently doing, and it's not working. And then here's what we have tried to work that keeps getting shut down, and that's probably how we should solve the problem. And it's gone through what is it?
Wow,
I've read a chapter on sex work, and I've read a chapter on schools.
It's changed a lot, though. It's changed a lot over the years. Judging from what you're telling me,
I think only came out like 2 years ago.
Fuck, man. But I mean, police. I don't know the whole history like that. That actually kind of makes sense a little bit. I feel like it was put together by a bunch of people who were like, okay, we want you to control shit. But at the same time, like,
does that with the current attitude of police? And that's what,
I think
they're trying to explain.
I have to read the book a little bit and kind of go into detail about it, just so I can kind of figure out.
But the 2 huge subjects I've already read that they've gone over is the school to prison pipeline, which was really good and really well done, and it explained it on how like these little subtle nuances, rules we make are causing like are disrupting communities and actually causing more people to go to prison and jail than if police were never in schools. The SROs, the school resource officers.
But here, wait, hold on. I think that, not to go on like a tangent here, but like I think like over the year, well, not over the year. Last couple of years have been rough for the police, man. I guess it's rough now. It's fucked.
Yeah.
Although I love seeing the videos now of like police officers knowing how to handle situations, and I follow a lot of Gracie Jiu-Jitsu, and like one of the guys I follow is Henner. I've been posting videos of like police officers handling shit the right way and doing it in a way to where it's constructive, and they know how to handle the situation. I think there's a lot of fucked up shit that goes on with the police, and when they harass people, and I say people, now they do harass, like it's a thing. They fucking profile the fuck out of people all the time. I can tell you from personal experience that when I used to drive, and this is something that's totally like a white boy thing or some fucking, they used to profile me in my Acura Integra. I had a 92 Acura Integra.
Yeah.
Lowered, slammed to the ground with exhaust, that fucking annoying, like, bah, bah, the awful exhaust that you'd hear going down the street.
So what you're saying is I hate you?
They profile me. They pull me over. Okay, this is not even remotely close to some of the things they do to black people. Like, they do. But they would do this to me. They pull me over, and they'd walk up to the car, and they'd look surprised. They'd be like, "Oh, you're not what I expected." And then they'd be like, "Well, hey, I got a this of stolen vehicle or this and that, I'd be like, okay. And honestly, like, got to the point where I was like, the first time it happened, I'm like, okay, first of all, this is my vehicle. It's in my name. Here you go, and provided paperwork. And then they try to be like, well, hey, Pop. I go, no, sir, I'm not doing shit because this is my vehicle. You can go get a warrant. And then they'd fuck off, And then one time I was like, fuck it, I'm feeding into this. It happened twice. It happened once. And I knew my whole block was B18A, so I knew it. And I knew the number and everything. I was like, yeah, go ahead. Let's pop this shit. Let's see how stupid you are. So I was like, all right, cool. So on the side of the fucking road off of fucking Elmira, I got pulled over for, what was it? He said exhaust. I didn't even have exhaust at that point. I think I had exhaust, but it was like the shitty ass, like, it wasn't loud. It was just annoying.
You didn't have enough money to put money in your car.
Yeah, I didn't have enough money.
I know you back.
Fuck, I was broke as fuck.
You didn't have that thing even like super at all. It was
just cool, man.
However you bought
I love
it.
my car. Fuck you, man.
You put no money into it.
I love my car. But anyways, they put me over and I'm like, hey, man, pop your hood. And I go, okay. I was pumped. I was like, this is going to be fun. So I get out of my car. And I get out, and I'm like 6'2". He thinks I'm like, he just, oh shit, like, I open my hood.
Yeah, you grew. You like you just all of a sudden,
because I get in there, I open the hood up, and he's like, okay, and I'm like, go ahead, look at it, and I'm like, the motor's hot, be careful, it might burn you, and he like looks in there, he's like, oh, okay, I'll let you go ahead and fucking, I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, these guys literally pulled me over because I'm driving in a certain car.
Yeah.
And then a part of me was like, okay, now, so when someone brought this to my attention about how they get profiled, I was like, oh, this makes perfect sense. It does. It absolutely happens. And I'm not saying like they I mean, like I was telling you, I've had cops pull me over and go, "Oh, you're not this? Okay, oh, you're fine then. Go at it. Go get out of here."
Yeah, right. They had the same spiel of, "Oh, we have a
I had
reported
a
stolen
I had a
car
DUI,
multiple times."
DUI fucking officer pull me over. He's like, "Oh, okay, you seem fine. I'll let you." And I'm like, "You're not gonna fucking no." He goes, "Let me see your license." Well, okay, you're fine. Go ahead. I'm like, "Why'd you pull me over?" "Oh, I just suspected you of drunk driving." I'm like, "It's 3:30 in the afternoon. I just got off work. Like, what was I doing that said, well, you were swerving." I was like, "I was making a lane change with my blinker." We're like, "What the fuck were you like?" This is come on. There's some things where you're like, "Wait a minute, there's something going on here, and we're not following certain rules here." I don't know.
The chapter in the book I just got done with was on gangs and like gang task force, which I thought was pretty cool. And it got like one of the parts it got on how like incredibly messed up it was explaining on how LA, because they had one of the worst gangs, and they tried to create a task force for it, and how that actually bred corruption, and because the gang task force are kind of secretive because it requires that to be safe, because it also has to deal with the drugs and them busting everyone, but that led to little oversight. And they eventually caught one of their members selling drugs, like stealing drugs and then reselling them. And when they caught him for it, he outed everyone who was around him. And when they did that, they found that 12 other police officers that were in the gang task force were actually committed murder. They were actually like super unregulated. There was like a bunch of murder charges that came out of it. A bunch of people had to retire. Some people were serving sentences for everything.
Oh, dude, yeah, there's some dirty shit in that. Dirty as fuck.
And that's what they were normal police officers before that, but once they got in the gang task force and they were given all this power and no oversight, and this was their job, they all started committing murder.
They didn't give a fuck.
12 of them,
bro.
Corruption, false charges for arresting. They had to go through a bunch of police cases to like see if they were legit arrests, and like they had to free a bunch of people because some people were arrested on false charges, like. And it's like the whole point of that was to explain gang task force and like what they have done, what the problem with it is, and like how to properly solve it, and like why it comes about. So like that's why I really like the book. It doesn't just say, "Oh, here's a problem, fuck them." These are people. It was like, here's a problem. Here's what we try to do to fix it. Here's why it's not effective. Here's what we have done that's effective that isn't being done, and then here's what we can actually do to try and like solve the issue. So it comes to a conclusion in each chapter, which I really like, and the gang task force one was like, it's honestly like giving police the power. All this is only going to make gangs hate police
more,
and they're
well, there's always been that feud between that, and it's unfortunate, but that's the way it is.
Yeah,
that's just the way it is, and but it can change. It can change, but we have to change the system that it was that was set on. Like we have to change that. We have to change the mentality from like we're a fuck it. Like the thing is like. When you talk about like these police officers, like they back each other up.
Yeah,
they're their partners. They're their backup.
They're supposed to be watching your back. If you can't trust them, they can't be your partner.
You can't. And the thing is like there's a certain like community with that. Like they back you up in a way to where like, hey man, this is the guy that I gotta back up. This is my team. This is my member. This is my dude. This is the guy I gotta work with. This is the guy. Boom. And there's a certain sense of like when someone makes a mistake or does something crazy, they're like, "Oh, well, we're not gonna like bring that up. It's okay. He just kind of lost it for a minute." Or like, there's like or like when shit goes wrong or shit goes whatever. Like, no one's gonna call nobody out. No one's gonna be like, "Hey man, that wasn't a very good morality, good call." They're just gonna go, "Okay, man, like it was a thing," or they're gonna brush it off and go, "Hey man, don't worry about it." It's gonna happen. There's a community thing. Yeah. It's like like I was watching a comedian talk about how he works security and like how like when you're security like you fucking start going you start doing this thing like everybody becomes buddy and like you got everybody's back, and if they do some scandalous ass shit you're like fuck them, they deserve that shit, whatever dude, like those guys are whatever. Do we follow the rules? Not really, but those guys are fucking, who gives a shit? Like so, we're the authoritative figure. We can do whatever we want.
That's a common term between all this is that
sucks.
There's a couple bad apples.
It sucks, but sometimes that's the way, and that's how shitty that is. You have one or two bad people who do make that bad decision, and then it fucking affects everything.
It ruins everything.
There are good cops out there. There are solid cops. There are good solid people. There are good solid morals. There are good solid. But one person goes out there and does this, and they're like, okay, instantly, like this is that. I'm being profiled, or I'm, and it sucks. It fucking sucks, dude. It really does.
And that's actually hilariously of the irony of the term is a couple of bad apples, and it's like the couple of bad apples ruin the whole bunch. Because when an apple goes bad, it starts releasing what I can't remember the too far gone. Remember the name of the gas, but the gas makes everything else decompose faster. So, and the reality is on how true that is to the current police system. Is
Carbon monoxide?
No, it's not carbon monoxide. It starts with an A, and it's actually like 14 letters long, I think. I can't remember what it is.
Fucking knows, man.
But it makes stuff oxidize faster, and it's what the apples release. So there could be like 1 or 2 bad police officers out of 100 for that whole department, right? Which is like between like 3 shifts. That's like just 2 dudes, only like a third of the time doing problems, right? But you can't report on them
because then it fucks your credibility. Like, oh yeah,
because now
guy's
you're
gonna narc on me.
Now you're like calling problems on your brotherhood, and then you turn your back on your brotherhood. Now everyone has a problem with you because you're starting to snitch. Can't be a snitch in your own brotherhood. You're supposed to watch each other's back.
But then that comes down to your moral standbase. Like,
And
are you gonna be moral? Are you gonna fucking be the guy?
The other issue is people who are shown as being aggressive are actually rewarded as being the best police officers because they're in there dealing with the criminals, and they're also the ones making the arrest, or they're in the action. But they always are the ones already getting promoted, and they're always considered the better police officer, even though they're being more aggressive instead of solving it peacefully.
Yeah.
So not only is it the couple bad apples, but they're also the ones getting promoted, and they're the ones in the lead. And you can't say shit about your CO, your commanding officer, or your lieutenant or sergeant.
Yeah, good
and
luck,
the only
bro.
people who can say something
Good
are
luck.
above you, or
you want to push paperwork for the rest of your
you.
fucking life? Go ahead, do it.
Yeah, exactly.
You want to direct traffic, or you want to be a fucking detective?
And they all get each other promoted, so they're all in positions of power. And not only is that an issue, but there's also police unions. They're supposed to be public servants. They don't need a goddamn union. They answer to us. They don't. They're not being controlled by the 1% telling them what to do. They were from the very beginning for. Yeah. So giving them all this extra protection that if they get in trouble, they're not in trouble is like, so if you do murder someone, like, and you're like, hey, you're on suspension, like, until it's investigation, then you can't be on the police force. You'd be like, oh, well, I'm not working, not making money. Well, the union's like, well, you're making your money. So there really is zero repercussion for committing an atrocity. And the fact that the police union can go on pay for the legal costs and go on your behalf to make sure you're fine helps reassure that they aren't going to get in trouble for anything they do.
And here's the real truth, man. To draw back to us as a species, yeah, we devised all these like ins and outs of society. We devised these policing. We devised this society that derives around politics that has all these things. And realistically, like, is it going to change tomorrow? No, it's not.
No.
It's not. And what's going to help it to change? What's going to actually really make it change is the individuals who are part of the process who really want it to change. I always make comments about this to people. I go, you can tell somebody for a month of Sundays they're fucking up. Like, you can be like, hey, you're fucking up. Like, I don't like it.
A month of Sundays.
A month of Sundays, okay? You can say, hey, man, you're fucking up. And one, they're going to go, okay. But until they want to change, until they want to be better, until they want to be something more, until they realize and go, okay, this has got to be something that I want to do, it's never going to happen. And the frustration that I think a lot of Americans feel is the fact that we're not willing to admit our faults. And if we are, we're not willing to make that change. Because change is going to be something that is going to suck. We're admitting the fact that the police force that we're using isn't 100% right, or the training process or the process that we've given these officers isn't right. It's tough. It's tough to sit there and tell the public that we're fucking up. It's easier to say that, oh, they're wrong and we're going to correct it, versus saying, oh, we're
the whole system is corrupt and the whole system needs to be redone.
Right. It's easier to give them a bullshit response. Yeah. Oh, during a military exercise, a jet was shot down by an accidental thing, versus saying we invaded airspace and we fucked up and we got shot down by these guys because we're idiots.
Yeah, and they had their right to do that, and we're not going to war for it. So
my point, though, is that, like, and this comes back to us as a species, man. We always, I try to make it full circle. You know, we have this mentality of thinking that we have the answers and that we can make everything better by following a certain code or following a right or left wing decision, or thinking that we could control the situation by trying to understand everything or not understand it, but by solving it by violence or by just control, manipulation, all these things that we think that works. And there's no 100% guaranteed answer that will make things work. We can sit there and say all day that if we just stop doing this would be better. Like, you know, how did gangs get formed? Well, we isolated communities to an area saying that this is the area they need to be in, and then the community got together saying this is like there's things that we did.
You were really close to actually why gangs formed. You were actually really like on
we
tape.
isolated communities to certain areas, and then therefore those areas created a group, and then like
they're a very poor area of the
right. We're like, okay, this is a low community, a low income housing area, and then boom, those people formed, and it's like we did that, we created that.
The other huge issue is education. Most people
but here's the thing, like, you know, you could have the argument of like how people could have the argument and go, okay, like they don't want to. There's no, it should be free education. And that people should have the opportunity to have, you know, MIT has free their entire fucking academic playbook. What do they call it? Academic whatever is online. MIT, they put all that online for free learning. Okay,
they put a bunch of classes, right?
They put all their stuff online. If you want to learn, you can learn MIT. They put all this shit online.
MIT in Boston.
They put all their shit online. So you can do it for free. You won't get a diploma or you won't get a degree or whatever, but you'll have the knowledge. You'll have the education. If you want to go learn, you can learn.
Shit. That's actually pretty big
And
deal.
realistically, like, I know we talk about how people want to be educated and they want to have the knowledge. I believe they do. I truly believe people want to be educated. But sometimes it's easier to say, oh, I can just do this. It's easier to go, okay, well, I can do this without this. Or I could get here without here. Or I could just make the conscious decision and like, okay, well, do I really need that? I mean, coming from somebody who was a GED, I don't have a high school diploma, you know. I got to where I'm at today just from hard work and dedication.
Same.
That's just what I did. Didn't need a diploma to get there. I just figured it out. I, made decisions and moved forward with my life. Some people don't want. Some people want the easy route, and that's fine. I'm not knocking that. I'm not saying it's bad.
Not the easy route, but you mean they just don't want to do education.
They don't. They don't need it. They don't need. Like, I know plenty of people who are highly intelligent people who went into carpentry, who went into like labor intensive jobs, and were able to be successful to support their family and do what they have to do. That's fine. Hell the fuck yeah. Matter of fact, we need more people who go into those kind of jobs.
We
because
literally don't. I think that's been my career for the past like 7 years.
We did HVAC. Come on, blood.
No, I've done HVAC.
Like HVAC.
I've done carpentry, and right now
carpentry's the shit though. Like, if you could do that,
that's the simplest one of them all. And
then
I was just
you
doing
know how
high
to cut
voltage
fucking
electrical.
wood, bro. You know how to cut fucking wood and do all that stuff.
Do you know
people who don't know how to do that?
Do you know how actually
if the whole infrastructure fails,
that's the crazy
part.
part.
You can fucking cut. You can be like, okay, build a fucking.
That's the crazy part. Carpentry is considered so highly the skilled thing, and it's actually the simplest of all of them. Plumbing's more. Plumbing's more intense than carpentry. Electrical tenfold more intense than all of them.
It's probably because it's underground.
And
that's why.
Even though
plumbing's always harder. Like, hey, we got to dig underground.
Even though
instead of cutting shit on top, we got to cut shit underneath the ground.
And even though HVAC is like all three of them together, it doesn't deal with high voltage, which is a huge part of electrical, which is like a big deal. But carpentry, I did that for like 4 months. We made what is it called? We made the boxes for pouring concrete. Is what the company did. So we made soffits and we made all kinds of We made basically the main frame for it, and all they do is slap the sides on, pour the concrete in, and they can just pour the concrete and then stand it up, and then that. And that's how they make parking garages or any other buildings.
Mm-hmm.
And the most complex thing about carpentry was actually working with the wood, because wood it's not a fucking perfectly straight thing. There's warps in it. It bends. It was a living thing at one point with its own shape.
It still is a living thing. Trust me.
So
because you cut it, I mean, it doesn't stop.
The most intense thing about carpentry was actually learning how to make the wood do what you wanted when it was in a perfect shape. To try and make it go.
Like you could swell the wood, or you could shrink it, or
because other than that, it was just simple math. And we learned that in the 5th grade. Yeah, everyone could do. You could do carpentry. You could be fucking great at it because it's not complex. And the people I work with would struggle with simple arithmetic, and I was like, I've been here for 3 weeks, and I'm running my own crew right now. What the fuck is going on? I am not this intelligent.
Some people don't have that. But see, that's fine. They're hard workers, though.
They work, and that's how they made it for. That's why they still have the job, and that's why I like working with them. Is that they had the attitude and they had the personality to not be abrasive, and they were be cohesive in a team and to work hard. Yeah. But no, carpenter's easy.
And we appreciate you guys so much.
But the whole point was I've done a lot of multiple construction. I've done road work. Just did for 3 months. I just did high voltage electrical, huge job, and then company before that HVAC. I've done manufacturing. The people who work these jobs aren't dumb, but their intelligence is limited. Is what I'm trying to say. They can figure things out. They can learn things. But they are what's the word? Walking down a tunnel. They only see what's right in front. They can't understand everything. They don't. They don't learn at a crazy high rate.
I don't think that's true. I think that everybody has the capability of learning more things and doing more. It's just you have to be presented with somebody who has the knowledge.
I just don't think they care is what it is. They just don't care to learn.
Well, how do you know? How do you know how they feel?
I feel like they've already graduated high school.
How do you know how they feel? Are you them?
No.
Are you them?
That's what I'm saying. I think that's how they feel.
You're not them. So
because
before you say, I think that they think this way, think of okay, go based off of what you know. So don't because when you say things okay, I think they feel this way. That's you're generalizing based off
so
what you know.
You like differing opinions so you can learn. Right?
Mm-hmm.
You like seeing a completely different opposite idea, and you can see it and decide for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
They get very upset on any opposite idea because it challenges their view of the world. And instead of taking it in for what it is, okay, so that's your opinion.
Okay, so they're not a. I don't understand the process. They don't. I don't. It's not. I don't get it. I don't understand it. I don't like it. It's not. There's the 3 steps, right? I don't get it. I don't understand it. I don't like it.
Yeah.
I don't like it. Or it goes. I don't like it. It's really what it comes down to. I don't like it. That's the third.
I think you're right about all of those. Is that they don't understand.
That's how I break down learning. So when someone goes, I don't understand it. That just means they're not. They're not willing to. They struggle with it because they don't understand the process. They don't get it. I don't get why this works, and you have to break it down. If you say I don't like it. That's just their way of I just don't want to. I don't want to change.
Yeah,
it's a resistance.
You don't want to
get
any energy.
So you can eject. You can go. Okay, you don't want to change. Well, guess what? Either you're going to do that, or it's not going to work out. It's just the way it is.
So,
it's not going to work.
With you saying that, my point is that they're not. It's not that they're incapable of learning and growing, and they're stuck in this mindset. The fact that they're choosing it because it is too much energy for them to put into trying to change their own life or to try and learn something, but they have the complete ability to do it. Where were this? We're getting to that point. Are we getting to that point?
Yeah, we are.
Yeah, shoot, we're getting lost.
Yeah, we are, ladies and gentlemen. Kyle's getting lost. Let's get lost in ourselves.
You're saying we need more people who did physical labor jobs. And
I was waiting for this guy. I was waiting for this guy to start going oh shit, man, what the fuck am I talking about? I had my moment about 30 minutes ago and went fuck. I was on a good tangent and then gone.
Oh yeah, because I said something funny and you just completely lost it.
It was good. It was good.
So we just recovered.
It was good, man. But dude, I'm honestly this is one of those instances I'm talking about. So I don't know if you this is one of my this is a top 10 coolest things in the world for me to do right now is podcasting. Sitting across from a room with somebody and talking. I know a lot of times, like right now with what we're dealing with right now, we're going through a pandemic, dealing with some crazy shit right now, and I all I can think of is like what I want to do and like how I want to do this, and like I just get these my mind is racing all the time, and all I can think about is just like I need to talk to people, I need to talk. I need to talk to anybody who is willing to listen, anybody who wants to hear me talk. I mean, fuck, I just need to be, feel like I'm human again. And right now, going through this crazy pandemic, you're over here trying to figure out what the fuck.
Why it keeps shaking? Is it my heartbeat?
No, I don't know. Why is your fucking? You got the muscle spasms. It's your muscle spasm, bro.
Sorry, go
he's
on.
living right now,
No,
guys.
you were on an important concept. I just got distracted.
I'm just saying, like,
I got
my
confused.
point though is that my point is that I'm so thankful to have like a platform I'm at now. There's one point in my life where like we would always sit down, we always chat and hang out, and I've always had like a great time.
Yeah,
hanging
we were
out and
having a
talking
group
to you, man.
together.
Yeah, we'd all just sit around and have like a floorgy, If you guys don't know what a floorgy is, okay, yeah, let's just put some parentheses in there.
I'm
people
so glad
understand.
you're explaining this.
A
Out of context.
floorgy is essentially where we would sit around on the floor after a night of drinking, hammer drunk, like a solid night. We were like 23, 24 at the time, and we would wake up the next morning and like lightweight have some kind of shitty ass breakfast, and then I'd be like, or someone would, Kyle and myself, when we were living together, he would go sit on the floor on the living room. This is before we had furniture. Like this is way before that.
We had at least a couch. And a
We had
table.
it was a mansion, bro. It was like a straight up like a mansion. Like it was just one couch, 2 seats, and a fucking
Table with
outdoor
4 chairs. Yeah. A
So
patio
he
set.
would get up from the table and go sit on the floor, and usually we had a couple chicks here too, and he would lay on the ground, and then a girl would lay on him on his stomach, and then we'd make like a square because we'd all sit.
Yeah, we'd all lay on each
and
other basically.
we'd
on
all
the floor.
and we call it a floorgy. Obviously people take it the wrong way. But it was like a thing we did, and we were so hungover. Oh God!
It was great to always just stare at the ceiling.
But that was when hangovers were fun though. That was when like, oh yeah, we're like, yeah, you're just tired.
That was the beginning of podcasts because we would just sit there and talk about life.
Yeah,
We would just lay on the floor and just talk about life to each other.
we just do that. But God, man, that was some great fucking times. That's back when Tyler was skinny. Those good times. I was giving shit. Now I'm giving you shit, motherfucker. Those are the times when, like, I always make those jokes because I had a meme pop up or a video pop up of me and Tyler at an event, and he was super skinny. I'm like, you got fat. And I give him shit every time I see him too. I'm like, oh man.
Yeah, let's just bully him and back to being skinny.
Yes.
It's the best thing for him.
What
Let's
do
just
we
not
what do
be
we do to
nice
you
to
though?
him until he's the best version of
What do
himself.
we do to you though? Like we fucking fuck. Tyler fucked you up mentally though. Like he got you good, man.
Well, no, he would.
That's because you used to be shredded like
Yeah,
all
and
the
he'd-
time, and so he'd be like, "You're fucking fat," and he'd do that shit.
He'd give me shit on the
he'd
little
skinny
love
shame
handles.
you, bro.
Yeah.
He'd skinny shame you.
Yeah.
Not fat shame.
So I was
he'd
excited to
skinny
get
sh-
out of shape, and he gave me shit for being out.
Is it
just
is it reversed? No, it's not skinny. It's fat shame, right? Because if you do it backwards, right? Is that how it works? You
I
fat
don't know, you
shame
give me hella
somebody because
shit.
they got skinny. Like Adele got skinny and they fucking fat shamed
No.
her? Is
Yeah,
that how that works? I don't know.
Yeah, right.
Right, it's reversed.
How's that called now? You're
It's
right.
called fat
That's
shaming. Like fat shaming, or is it skinny shaming? I don't know how they use that, but like you make fun of, you talk shit.
I
because
know
they
exactly what
lost-
you're talking about,
You talk shit
but that
because they
term is
fucking
not
lost
known.
weight, right? Is that how it works? I don't know.
Is that skinny shaming?
No, I'd be
Because
fat.
fat shaming makes fun of someone for being fat, but they lost the weight,
Then you
and you're making fun of them losing the weight and hating the fact that they
You're
just
skinny
made-
shaming them. Yeah, I guess
Are you
you
skinny
could-
shaming them?
Yeah, I would definitely no for real though. But that's what friends do, man. That's a friend. Hey, man, if your boy listen, man, guys should be like that all the time. Guys, if you can't get like at least talk shit a little bit, like I've been talk shit to my whole life, man.
Right.
And like a little times I've gotten emotionally involved. Like, man, you guys shouldn't say that shit, man. You fucking you. Nah, man, you a little bitch sometimes. You need to take a step back. They just talking shit because they can.
And if you scroll through Facebook,
If you can't talk shit with your homies,
All
who the
I s-
fuck can you talk shit with, man? Come on,
bro,
Like,
so
Jesus.
all I see on Facebook are opposite posts of that. It's like, oh, men need to be sensitive and like just being aggressive. It's
Oh,
toxic
you want sensitive?
masculinity.
I'll give you the biggest. I'll give you the biggest fucking pussy you ever seen, bro.
No,
if you want to see that?
I already know you can. I know already you do. I don't.
But that's
wanna
not
see it.
me, man.
But no, they're trying to talk about
Come
toxic
on.
masculinity. But like, no, I actually support that kind of abrasive.
I want a sensitive guy.
Because like, obviously, I do hella construction. I've been doing construction and like manufacturing for like the past like 7-8 years.
Where
like,
these guys just literally just
we're
talk
just
shit.
super like
They like fight each
It's like-
other and like lightweight about to fight
I could
each other.
jump into a shark-infested pool and I would punch everyone in the face and make them my bitch. Because dealing with like the construction environment is so much more aggressive and worse. But it's like I get it because life is not easy. We live in a society where like things are like super easy for a very long time. But the reality of existence is that things have to die for us to continually exist, and we have to work hard to be able to afford all this. And someone has
Welcome
to
to
suffer.
life.
And in America, we're not suffering, but we're exploiting other countries to do it.
Yeah,
And so
welcome to
there's
life, buddy.
suffering everywhere.
That's
10,
the way
10 to
the
1
world works.
ratio. And they're like, oh, it's toxic masculinity. I'm like, this is what pervades all of existence. And men do not get an excuse. If you are a man and you are just weak and fragile all the fucking time, life is going to be harder for you. If you couldn't have a thick skin,
Because you wouldn't
to
be able to survive. You
just
wouldn't be able to survive.
shrug the bad day off and move on. Not only is work going to be hard, but you're also the leader of the family. And you can't let your wife freak out because they love to do that. And you can't let your kids see that you're worrying.
Yeah.
And so it's way harder for the guy. Yeah.
Fucked. We're
And,
fucked,
and
man.
so we want to be like
we're
sensitive to everybody.
we're like pushed up against a fucking wall, just like
Yeah.
like waiting to break. Like, God damn it.
And that toxic ass culture has taught me to be
sucks,
strong.
man.
As much as it
Sucks.
actually sucks, as much as it really is fucked up, and how much it
Fuck.
sucks, it's taught me to be stronger.
Well,
And I have very few bad days now.
shit.
Oh, you're in your fourth one now?
On that
'Cause
note-
I'm still on my second.
On that note, let's take a shot. Let's take a shot.
Yeah.
Okay. And then 2. Let's end this on a good one. 2 hours now, man. We're getting down. I'm having a good time.
We could probably go another hour. But I'll smoke a cigarette.
Kyle, dude, I genuinely appreciate you coming over here and hanging out on the podcast, man. It's always a pleasure having you out. A lot of history, a lot of things we've been through together.
Oh yeah, a lot to connect.
Craziness is happening in this world, in this apartment, actually this very room. But I do appreciate your insight. I do appreciate you. I do really enjoy conversating with you, especially on a platform I have now.
I love
Now
hearing
I
your
have-
opinion on it too.
You know, I love being able to sit down with somebody who's like experienced every part of what it is to like be a friend. You know, we live together. We've done a lot of shit together. We got drunk together. We fucking I shouldn't say drunk. Got hammered together. Like got fucked up together. You know, got to be like much more than friends.
Vacations, met same
Right.
family.
Fucking Rihanna. You know, all that shit,
Yeah,
man.
we're not just friends. We
But-
also made each other's family and like on a vacation.
But I really
together.
appreciate it, man. I'm very thankful to have you as a friend, and I really appreciate you being on tonight. Yeah, man, I love it. It's always fun.
Would love to be back another time, and we'll figure out something else to make for the main point because we talked about everything. Tonight.
Everything, and I loved it, man.
And
I love it.
I
I
love
love
it.
it.
But I feel like if we're gonna do this again, we need to make like a script almost. Like
Oh no,
here are the
There's
things
no
we're gonna
script
just
with us,
hit.
bro. There's no script. There's no
Here
script.
are the ideas we're gonna hit.
No
Like we're gonna
script.
stay on that
Absolutely
one
not.
idea.
No script. No, we're just
No
gonna wing
script.
it, bro.
We're winging it every
I
time.
loved it. I love how we started with Hitler and then ended with like masculinity. Just like it started with Hitler.
20
and then
minutes ago, we would have ended
mascul-
with Hitler again.
masculinity. But thank you guys so much. This has been DNA Talks. Your guest tonight, Kyle. Say bye, Kyle. Tell everybody I said what's up.
Bye, everyone.
Awesome.
Don't talk shit about my hair because I know you're about to.
Thank you
Don't
guys so
idiot
much.
children
You've been
with
listening to
cancer.
DNA Talks. I'm your host, Derek Phelps. See you next time. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, guys. All right. See you later.